lowered. So, hello everybody. It's me, Francisco here, joined by my good buddy Charles here for Sports Goofs number 193. This is we are almost towards the end of what this iteration of the show. I think I do have a name for the next version of this. Actually, it's already been suggested. I feel like we should just do Goofs 2.0. Just call it that. It doesn't have to have any meaning to it. It's just a meaning to us. Call it G2 to shorten it. I'm sure Gatorade will have some problems with that, but
it's not a OBSG2. It's not a spin-off either. It's not a spin-off. Call it, if anything, it's not even a reboot. I think it's just a continuation. Think Frasier, right? You have Frasier, and then gone for 20 years and became Frasier. You would require some retirement, but Francisco and I are just lucky to even make it to 35 and 36 when the time comes. You know what I mean? So there's many things. I mean, if it was a pure spin-off, we would use the Cheers Frasier equivalents. We could call it like Dexter New Blood if you want, but it depends. There'll be some same characters, new characters, right?
Yeah, I have to develop new studio and everything. I got to figure everything out for that.
Guacamelee is probably staying. I'll tell you guys that now for those. But I mean, it makes sense because of everything that I cover. Don't need a cage, but who's not going to love a big old, luchador who's part of a video game, a very underrated developer called Drinkbox. You guys should support their games. I have nobody owns the world.
What else have they ever made aside from those are the only two games that I know of?
Well, they've done the two Guacamelees, and the latest was Drinkbox's Nobody Saves the World. So I have that. I got it for free on PS Plus, and I'll touch it a little bit. They make some other stuff too. But that's the thing with indie games. If I'm giving you, and I'm talking about pure indie games, because there's some developers that they would call them indie developers, but they're really like AA financing. I think of course my brain doesn't want to work as an example, like the Plague Innocent stuff that we've like kind of both are playing, but I have only two and you have one. And then there's another one that I have that's on my damn PlayStation 1, I guess, if damn counts. But the point being, I'll remember, it's just, we don't plan the weird stuff that we talk about, guys. So just understand that. But with them, they're pure 2D indie developers who really kind of like hit down the Metroidvania, and they have like the new thing they're doing that's like a skill tree. So I'm curious. You gotta support people. That's what it is. Like, if you didn't support Sam Lake at his worst, Def Rally, you'll never got him at his best. Alan Wake too. That's the whole thing. Remedy itself, because not just Sam Lake, but he is more the franchise of face to it. Just saying.
Yeah. This is a good transition to this discussion because I have really not much planned. Hold on, where's my phone? For the discussion. Yeah, the Super Bowl happened. Everybody's going to talk about it. The game was good.
It's 5 to 10 minutes of our time, guys. Just understand that's how we're viewing this.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really have to hear our opinions too much on it. It's not going to deviate much from whatever you're hearing amongst all the.
Can you just stop saying everything's rigged just because a team that you don't like won? And there's also holding on every single call, but like the last hold on Patrick Mahomes is not going to get all my pity, or against Patrick Mahomes is not going to hold my pity when they were up by 10 points and there was a block PAT and I'm up punt. That's my 2 cents on it.
That is true as well. And that would have mattered, but unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan just can't seem to get it done.
Guys, we don't get paid to talk about how great one quarterback is, and if another quarterback is just decent enough with all the right tools, we really don't care. We will crap on coaches any day of the week. We will crap on owners every day of the week, unless the player is so bad that we have to kind of like raise our eyebrows to discuss it. That's not who we've evolved to. Greedfall was the other name of the game that I was talking about, being the AA title that get some love. Sorry.
Okay.
Random thought. Husky behavior, as they say.
So, yeah, I mean, aside from that, he's been touted as the next big thing. Everybody keeps talking about all this, and he's had some shots already. Nothing's been done. Excuses upon excuses. Oh, the 49ers keep getting injured. And all this and that, and yet here we are. He was the offensive coordinator when the Falcons just seemed to forget how to score after going up 28-3. against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So, and guess what? Head coach is part of his coaching tree. Mike McDaniel out in Miami, another guy who's been touted, been praised, but all this stuff, and then when it actually matters, things seem to not happen. Excuses start to happen as well. Oh, the Dolphins got really injured towards the end of the season. Sure.
These offensive genius teams tend to like choke up.
Yeah.
The Dolphins only scored 7 points, and I mean, just 19 points on them. Shout out though to the Chiefs' very excellent defense, because we talked about on the show in our predictions. Damn, like I don't think people understand, to make Christian McCaffrey fumble, to block a PAT. That still baffles me. It's not like a missed PAT.
Which mattered.
Blocked a PAT.
Which mattered at the end of the day.
You didn't intercept Brock Purdy, but you also had Christian McCaffrey, who on this show we said should have been MVP, to like just 88 yards or 80-something yards on 20 plus carries. To have Brandon Ayuk not do anything, well, he tried. I loved him. To have George Kittle kind of nurse an injury, damn. And I guess it's a sports show. We'll start with that before we get into the thing I know you need to. This whole entire season, people wanted and needed Kansas City to lose, not because you hate Mahomes. I don't understand this narrative where we hate the Chiefs just because they literally won one Super Bowl, right? If there was that, but that's what happened, right? For a lot of people, because you got to remember that there's a lot to love on that team, even with Alex Smith there. But they created this narrative. But the reason why you guys should not have wanted this Chiefs team to win is because they went 11-6. They got embarrassed by the Raiders. They lost to a lot of other people. This was touted as the team that didn't have any wide receivers anymore, and that Travis Kelce, y'all poo-poo too much on Taylor, and us, I'm not a Swifty and a fan support of Taylor, but I'm a Swifty and the support of just hating on when we were stuck in back in the day, so you can call me a Swifty for that. But he wasn't at 1,000 yards, and he wasn't fully there. And this is what I was supposed to be the team to beat. And you didn't want this to happen in the playoffs, which led to them raising Lombardi Trophy, because it goes mean that regular season doesn't matter. For your team, who was holding on to being 12-5, and to the Baltimore Ravens, who are holding on to being 14-3, and then the 49ers do the same thing. The 11-16 just turn it on, and they literally decimated the first 3 teams coming their way in the AFC. And then when they got to the Super Bowl, they just didn't sweat. They're like, okay, Isaiah Pacheco fumbles. Okay, we're down 10 something. Okay, just score a touchdown. Just get a field goal. Just get a field goal. Score another field goal. Get a touchdown. Oh, it's overtime. Who cares about the overtime rule? I understand people are attacking Shanahan on the whole things, but it's common sense. Just score, right? And if you don't score, something's up. But let's see him march down and just do that perfect play where, sure, you want to call it holding, that's fine. I don't care. Change the rules where you can challenge it. That's all I'm saying. And then he gets a touchdown to Mecole Hardman, and that's it. When all the defensive efforts, y'all should hate yourselves, because it's really just saying it's going to be what you kind of hate in the NFL that the MLB is doing, where it's just literally all you need is one guy. MLB is doing over Shohei, right? All you need is just one guy. It's the guy, right? It's the guy. He can just turn around everything. And Mahomes has proven that. 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Andrew in the chat said 3 out of 5 years, right? That was my OG thing.
Yeah.
I forgot how it got elongated.
Yeah, we can finally we can label it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a dynasty. So
I think I said to correct Andrew, who's not with us today. He's not dead. He's just not on the show. 2 out of 4 is in consideration, but he's getting truthfully 3 out of 4 appearances for Patrick Mahomes, but 3 out of 5 years is the spread, and that's fantastico. I liked it as a Super Bowl. I thought it was probably one of the better games I saw this in the last several years.
Yeah.
Well, let's call it the last 5. Better. I don't know if it was better than last year, but yet also I was very much imbibed last year. This year I was pretty good. So I just remember things happened in the Eagles game. Definitely better than Rams-Bengals. Better than, of course, when they lost to Brady. And almost or on the same level, I would say, of when they first played the Niners, because you got to remember, the Niners were up in that game as well. Mahomes came back, and then there was the Jimmy Garoppolo miss of the receiver wide open where it would have been a touchdown. Kind of same thing happened in this game where Purdy missed the throw to Ayuk that was further out that would have been a touchdown. But it's kind of what you need in the Super Bowl, because I've told you I've been very disinterested in this season football, not because my team sucked, but because like everybody got kind of hurt, and I just didn't want to. I didn't think the playoff games were that good, minus like 2 or 3. But this is probably the only playoff game I watched from start to finish. If I could just be candid.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, I honestly didn't really watch the broadcast at all.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
was just following it through Twitter and everything, and
I think we both agree this was kind of lost season of viewership, even though the Super Bowl was said to be the most watched. It doesn't mean it was the most watched by my actual eyes as opposed to background noise, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was once again, it was a good game. I watched the end. I was driving. I saw the first half. I drove home. I saw the overtime portion as well, so I didn't miss the game completely. But I was really indifferent towards either team. Really, I could not seem. I can't. I don't hate the Chiefs, and maybe it's because I guess the Patriots were better villains
Yeah.
in regards to the NFL and people hating them as a dynasty. Because I mean, there's several factors that makes them a better villain than the Chiefs. Like
Can you call a team led by Andy Reid a villain?
that was where I was gonna get. Andy Reid doesn't seem he's like a jolly fat man. I mean, how can you hate that guy with the big mustache, and he definitely leans into the whole he eats barbecue for breakfast type of vibe
Man
that you get.
sweats at the Waffle House when he sees the menu.
Exactly. So you have that. You have Kansas City is not as a hateable of a region for sports in comparison to Boston. That's a massive difference right there. I mean, the Royals won one championship, and then you have the Chiefs, and they've got they've got 4, I think, now in total.
And the owners are not jerks the way Robert Kraft is.
Right. Yeah, I mean that in that family.
This is pre-massage. No one really liked Robert Kraft to begin with because he was always sided with Jerry freaking Jones.
Exactly, and yeah, it's the Hunt family. They've had the Chiefs since ever.
There was no Aaron Hernandez nonsense.
True as well. Thus far, there's always chances. Things can happen in the future.
Chiefs had Tyreek, and how you feel about that is how you feel about that.
Yeah, but they got rid of him.
It really just felt like is it agreeable that the villainy wasn't about the dynasty? It's just the Swiftiness.
I guess this year,
this season.
Yeah, I guess this year that really was the only thing that people.
Because I didn't hate them last year when they won.
Not people, quote unquote, and we know what kind of people we're talking about were against. And I guess I don't know. The memes that came out of this were funny.
Fantastic.
I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to go on Twitter and look for the.
I was merciless.
No. During this whole fiasco, not even fiasco, but this whole thing, they had the Taylor Swift AI images.
Yeah. Oh God.
That were very.
Disgusting, disturbing,
very spicy.
Yeah.
Amongst where are the Kansas City Chiefs and Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering it. I can't show it on the show. Actually, you can't find it on Twitter. They've essentially shadow banned it at this point. So,
what is it that I've said about Twitter and all that stuff? Y'all ain't tough. Y'all ain't real. Y'all just have your little typing behind the things, but you gonna say that to her? Did you gonna say that to the Kelsey brothers? After I saw Jason Kelsey just in that Luchador Rey Mysterio mask, and then Travis, they beat your ass too.
Yeah.
They beat your ass. Back to your days when you were born. 3, hands down. To pick at that scab a little about the villainy, I think it created a little bit last year because people were saying the rig stuff and complain at the end of the Super Bowl for Mahomes, like he became like the crybaby. And sure, but this crybaby scored 50 touchdowns last year to get another MVP, and then 30 plus this gig. So it kind of nullifies it a little bit because every quarterback is a crybaby. Every quarterback is a crybaby. Every star quarterback on every team. I'm not talking about my team. We ain't there. Tannehill was not a star quarterback. He was a starting quarterback that led, sir. Will Levis is not a star quarterback yet. Steve McNair was not a crybaby. If the man had tears, is because he literally tore everything to put it on the field. Just remember that. But there is a sense of all prima donna-ness amongst those upper echelon. I'm talking about A to S tier for those in the video game world of quarterbacks. Manning was kind of a crybaby. Peyton, just saying, when he sees things and calls away, just not as bad. Tom definitely was. He was pouty and moody coming into it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my personally, the Patriots were in the Dolphins division, and you just had to deal with that monster every single year for almost 2 decades, essentially, and it just got really annoying to the point where they completely they turned me into a monster, in all honesty.
Yeah, they did. They made you into that animal.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
To pick the scab slightly more, and then to move on to the best part of the Super Bowl. We'll get that in a second. I think there's just that bit of jealousy of team building where you just said, hey, let's just get this right coach, put some players, because the Chiefs are an offensive pick or a financial pickle, so they're going to cut guys, but they found the right guy to kind of build around, and I just don't see him as able. And to go back to Andrew, because he's not here, but I'm going to counterpoint it. He puts in the chat, which we will one day publish all the notes. It's like the Epstein files, right? Without the perversion and terribleness that he did, is the idea that he basically said he hates dynasties unless it's his own team, which I think is everybody. But the whole thing is, I can still appreciate a dynasty though, because it's the same team literally whomping everybody. This ain't 1920s, right? Or this isn't Bill Russell in the Celtics, and clearly the NBA was a very inept league on how to play the game, and he was able to dominate. We can all agree with that, right? So to be able to do this continuously, it has to be admirable or respectful, because if you don't respect it, you guys just don't like the game. Especially since in modern day football, they're really trying to make it as fair as possible with the cap and how they do these contracts where they blow it out, and that's why you have a lot of cap casualties. That's why, part of the reason why they let Tyreek go, right? If there was no cap, Tyreek would still be on the team. I'll be the first person to tell you that. It's why Mahomes had to kind of play in that factor of what I call the Shohei contract and NFL life. And Chris Jones is going to be gone. They let Frank Clark go, who was the guy who helped them last year. Chris Jones, he's going to count for $30 million on the cap, or he had a 1 year, $32 million extension, but they can go from there. They're not going to franchise tag him. So you have to appreciate it. And I think it's also, like, we compare it too much to the Patriots dynasty because, I think we all have to admit, we enjoyed the Patriots dynasty, but the Patriot dynasty was a tale of two cities. There was the first Brady eras, which were dull dynasties. It was just the lightning in a bottle, I feel. The 3 bottles came out of it. But it gave me the greatest Super Bowl I ever watched, which was 20-3, the Falcons, which Kyle Shanahan was on, which killed any hatred I have of Tom Brady. Seriously. Because I saw him like, that's all I need. It gave us the great defeat of Tom Brady with Nick Foles, just doing it with the Philly special.
True.
But still enjoyable. And then it gave us the very, of the Rams versus them that was very boring, which was probably the most dull Super Bowl I've seen. And then Brady goes off to win one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you have to appreciate, because you're in it for the sport. So if you feel as everything's truly rigged, whatever, but you do want to build a blueprint. It's the same reason how the Pat Riley Lakers came in and they built the blueprint in. It's how the Heat were able to build a blueprint. Actually, it wasn't even the Heat who built the blueprint. It was the Boston Celtics. For that 1 year, they just couldn't make it into a dynasty. Debatable if the Heat actually made a dynasty, but it's lowercase dynasty is what I'll call the LeBron era. Why not? It's our show. We can do whatever we want. Say, are you have to hate us, false on the Twitter and argue with us. FJOJR, Charles Drew, Jeffrey Hole, sports_goofs, Panthers historian, and Marlins historian, which is going to be popping out soon. But that's all I have to say about the game, aside from the best part of the game. But you haven't spoken of it, because apparently I took the wheel.
I mean, that's basically it. I'm playing a playlist of the Super Bowl commercials in the background right now. Anything that stuck out to you over the course of this?
Usher halftime show was just fantastic.
Yeah, if there's one thing Usher can do, is he can bring people.
Yeah,
he brought a lot of people.
One, he gave us memes, and the memes have just been great.
The sweating memes are great.
That's the first thing I'm gonna say. The sweating memes, the Alicia Key memes, how your girl is with the work bestie, stuff like that. I was laughing. The Jay-Z, how he hasn't aged well, all this stuff. I always love a good meme. The Travis Kelce yelling at Andy Reid and everything that comes in from there.
Yeah, that was funny.
Anything copies into it. Just everything about Jason Kelce itself. I don't know if you will go on the Twitter and you saw like Travis is with Taylor, and then you just see a stumbling, possibly drunk Jason Kelce and a luchador mask just going and begging and fighting for stumbling. How could you hate them? I don't know. I'm a Philly fan just because of it now. But Usher's it played all this. There's just, you really realize how much of a catalog Usher has.
Yeah.
That I'm like, damn, they didn't play Daddy's Home. They didn't play. Me and my paralegal went through and said it didn't play Daddy's Home. They didn't play Climax. You're not gonna do Moving Mountains, but you could if you wanted to. They could have built in so much, and you wanted more, and it was entertaining. And then it was just a good time. We're in that generation now where the halftime shows are for us, as some memes I put out there.
True.
And I'm all for that, right? I do still agree that sometimes there should be a rock and roll component, like a real rock and roll component to it. But, you know, you're not going to be able to get certain dynamics. But that's why I'm all for like the joint cohesion. But it worked very well, just Usher just doing things. And then ending it with was just the I don't think you kids understand. That song came out in 2004, and I'll still listen to it here on. I don't think I ever get sick of it.
Exactly. We all know who Lil Jon is because of it as well.
Yeah.
So, it's and Lil Jon lives in Vegas, and that's where he's stationed at, and he's a massive Vegas Golden Knights fan, actually a massive hockey fan since he was in Atlanta with the Thrashers. Mm-hmm. So he's not a bandwagoner in that sense. He lost the team in actuality. But the halftime show was good. The Nickelodeon broadcast.
The Nickelodeon broadcasts were very good. It was funny.
Yeah. Nickelodeon broadcast had some memes and everything like that. So that was great. And
the Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. The Dun Kings as well. I mean, if Don King he's dead, right? Don King is dead. Yeah.
Don King.
Okay, yeah.
I think Don's still out there.
I thought Don King's got to be dead. Because I remember
Don King is still alive at 92 years old.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Because me and my paralegal, we like boxing as well, so I went down the whole deep dive on Don King and how. I'm gonna get sued if I say this, but Don King's the devil. For
he is. He is. He's what ruined Mike Tyson.
Amongst other people, and then just there's a reason why you're a caricature, and when they steal you on satire, kids, that's not a good thing.
Mm. Yeah. So there's that.
92.
Movie trailers. Anything that stuck out to you? Deadpool.
Well, the thing is, they're not showing like a lot of them trailers in it, but Deadpool 3 obviously, because I love me some Wolverine. I love me some Deadpool. Read the comics. When I saw Hugh Jackman in the patch attire, which is him in the white suit, probably with the eye patch, I was like, "Ooh, Daddy came a little bit." Am I called? Is that a curse word? I'm not giving it a curse word. It's a bodily reaction. So I was like, yeah. And the fact that Nerd Gummy Clusters got a commercial goes to show the momentum that I've been building. Because I've been on that bandwagon about those Nerd Gummy Clusters for all. You will try those. Here's a question I have for you, though. One, there was a lot of car commercials, I felt like, which is great. But here's my general, which is good. I don't need to see some weird Ford Focus kind of stuff commercials on the Super Bowl. And this is even about the Jesus ad. I don't think it was necessary, but hey, you take that money, go ahead. ESPN, ABC, CBS broadcast, whoever. But this is my question to you. Why did Oreos need a commercial? You don't have to sell me on Oreos. I'm always looking at Publix. I'm seeing what's the buy one, get one half for free. I admire the admiration and the attempt. What's up?
Space Oreos. Have you seen those?
No. But that's what I'm saying. But they don't even advertise the weird stuff they have. They're just like Oreos. So I'm like, yeah, I know. I get the double stuffed family size. Well, what do you want? I am the family. I'll eat all of that. I don't need you to. It's not that I don't want you to. I just don't need you to because I know what I'm coming.
Just play the press conference where Giannis talks about why he loves Oreos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the most shocking thing. It's almost, it literally is like, oh, hey, here's a commercial for Oreos. So it's like, but this is necessary. You have also no competitors in Oreos. You can get the store brand, which is sometimes okay. The store brand vanilla is actually comparable if you're just trying to save a couple bucks. That has the vanilla cookie onto it. But truthfully speaking, I'm just gonna get my chocolate double stuff and go from there. You gotta remember, kids, if you haven't watched our old archive shows, I tried the mega stuff for us.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did it. I'm willing to put my stomach, my colon, and my body
Kidneys. Yeah. Several things. Yeah.
in line for everything to try out to see if it's good or bad. I'm your man, as Leonard Cohen said. I am your man. If you want to know what weird, crazy fast food concoctions there, I'm your man. I only get it once a month. If you want to know new sweets, I'm your man. I have hyped up the mega stuff. I've hyped up the Nerds gummy clusters. I've hyped up a lot of stuff coming into it. The hot Cheeto fries, which haven't been back coincidentally. Probably took 5 years off my life.
Indeed.
I'm your man.
Indeed.
I am basically, at least Review Bra does it, but I'm gonna try that honey pemberoni too at some point.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe this Friday. Maybe this Friday.
We did the Panthers Sub stuff for people.
Yeah, I did do that actually. That's a good promo there. So me and Armando from Locked On Panthers and the Hockey News, actually, he works for them too. We decided to both go in and film ourselves trying out the hot honey Florida Panthers sub from Publix.
He's looking hot, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. The OnlyFans actually might be justifiable.
You haven't seen
now
me in
with his,
person like a couple months, so
yeah, with his nice square arms, his pronounced face. I see some biceps also popping. Just saying, folks. A little shorty at the at the gym. Just saying.
It is working, and I did have a dilemma today. I thought I was gonna get it because you got it today as well, and
we might have to do a joint promo on that. Just saying.
Yeah. So I did do it. I did it last week for the non-sponsor there, but I did not do it today. I just got half of an ultimate sub, and just was good. I was good. I didn't want to get it for the third time. I don't want this to be a whole Burger King Cha-King situation out here, because that got ridiculous. I was eating that thing pretty much every day for a few weeks there.
I followed suit, and then my stomach hated me for it.
Yeah, and then Burger King got rid of it, so woof. And well, so yeah, we tried it out. It's on his channel, the Locked On Panthers YouTube channel, so you guys can check it out if you follow me on the things. I retweeted it as well, and it's on Instagram too. So yeah, so go see my review of the sandwich. I did lower my score a little bit because I think I might have, you got to step back a little bit, right? Every once in a while, and be like, okay, let's maybe the high of it at one point was why I gave it an extra 0.5, but it's an 8. I gave it an 8 on my second.
Justifiable and agreeable.
Yeah, my second playthrough, my second eat through of the sandwich there. So we're at 30 minutes now, and I think
we did our sports. We did our Super Bowl coverage. Guys.
Yeah, we did some Super Bowl coverage. I might talk about hockey in a little bit, possibly if it comes to my mind. But if not, whatevs. So we were mentioning about you're playing NHL, and just this massive.
Tonight's game is Kings versus Maple Leafs.
There you go, and it's at this point with the gaming, I have been completely just uninvolved with gaming right now. And it really has been, after Alan Wake, just
I don't think they understand how much we game, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Once again, I beat 300 in 3 years. But and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's part of me, stepping back a bit, not going so hard with that as well. And it might also be my looking at the Switch, the end of the Switch, retiring one console, trying to retire the other console. So I'm really just trying to close some chapters here with some of the stuff that I have for gaming. And I just haven't really felt the urge to. Nothing's stuck out to me. I look at my entire catalog on my PC, which is massive, and yes, there are plenty of games there. There are some mutuals that we have that are there that we could start, both of us, but emotionally, I guess we're just not there yet. and that just has come after playing Alan Wake and just sitting there and be like, well, I've invested so much time and into this world, this storyline, and watching lore videos and listening to the songs, and I'm rewatching the cutscenes on YouTube, trying to see like, oh, there's that foreshadowing, there's that, and there's that double meaning. And right now I'm having more fun not playing anything else and delving into the lore, into the world of that and the making of it and the philosophy behind it than I would be playing. Let me look at my library here. Splinter Cell Double Agent on Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at emotionally. I don't feel like moving on to the next game, and maybe I'm looking at some of these titles. And I'm just like, okay, like the Wii U just does not entice me. I will eventually complete it, but I mean, I don't have to, but I feel like an obligation to finish off.
Is it safe to say that console was not as good as we thought it was back then, and we were riding the coattails of the 4 games that we loved so much out of it?
The Wii U? Oh, this is a good
Yeah.
this conversation. All right. So, the Wii U, since we might as well do...
I'm in a lull too, kids, but he's... I'm going to disclaim. Francisco will play games in the past. As I move forward, I really can't.
Yeah.
And I'm too in a lull, and I think it's self-explanatory because I share a lot of sentiments that you have. And Mario RPG was fine. I liked it. Soft date, right? Really, it's 7.5, but a soft date. But I'm with you where I'm kind of like dejected because the next game I have to play, whatever it is, I feel like is not going to be thought-provoking and interesting. But go ahead. Now we're going to segue.
And honestly, the only thing that I feel like could get us out of that lull is just to play a Yakuza game.
Because I feel like we'd be so depressed.
Well, it just has to,
because we both know what happens in Kiwami. I did do a wiki.
True.
I mean, there's a difference between that experiencing the moment.
And I don't know if
Darth Vader's still Luke's father, but you watch Empire regardless.
True, regardless, but it's just more like just getting the silliness of the game more than anything of the storyline itself. But anyways, the sentiments are the same in that regard, with just the follow-up of Alan Wake 2 and moving on. But the Wii U, I'm looking at my library right now, which is all the games that I have for this thing. This is my library. And some of these, I'm going to do the multiplats first and be like, okay. And there weren't much on the Wii U. And if they were not great versions of it, when you can get better versions of it on the PS4 or the Xbox One. Or even some cases, the 360 or the PS3 version or PC. Lego City Undercover, which for whatever weird reason is exclusive to Nintendo Switch and Wii U.
Remember, they were targeting kids hardcore.
Yeah. Lego Marvel, Lego Marvel Superheroes and Avengers, Skylanders. So there's your multiplats, which was mainly those types of games, kids games that they could sell on that console. I have 2 Batman games, Arkham Origins and Arkham City.
But I thought you played those.
I did play them.
So okay, yeah. So those are not in your backlog.
No. But these are in my library. Okay. I finished the Arkham City, the series. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which was excellent, by the way. It's probably one of the best 2D platformers out there that you could play, and probably should get it on the Switch if you don't have it and you've never tried it before. So Tropical Freeze, but it is still a 2D platformer on a console that we probably should have expected more from. Epic Mickey 2, which was a massive disappointment compared to the first one. And I got through it, and it just kind of just ends. And they ended it as if they were expecting a third game. Never happened and never will. Hyrule Warriors, which was a surprise, right? That was a nice spin-off game, kind of like an all-star type of scenario where you have different characters from different eras of the Zelda games and mashing into one weird storyline. Cool. And I've never played a Warriors game, and it's just kind of dumb, turn off your brain fun. I have a Madden game, Madden 13. So that was
Is
like
that
the
the
only
Drew Brees
Madden.
one?
Yeah, that's the Calvin Johnson one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So the only one that ever released on the Wii U. The Kirby and the Rainbow Curse,
Mm.
which is gamepad only, and probably will be stuck on the Wii U unless the new Switch does something different that will allow you to play games like that. Good game, short game, nice style, but still a game that probably could have just worked on the 3DS, to be honest. Not really for a big console in that sense. Mario Kart 8.
Fantastic.
Yes, excellent game. The best game probably the best looking game from Nintendo on the Wii U, which is a lot for a racing game to do. But it was really the first ever Mario Kart game that really pushed visuals. In all honesty, every other Mario Kart game was just kind of, hey, just it looks like Mario, good enough. But this one was, hey, this is going to be the showcase for our system. And
Well, it was the lighting and it was everything. The lighting, the sound effects, and all the other stuff was really on point.
yeah, but the graphics themselves, I mean, the character models, everything was
Crisp, clean.
yeah, just absolutely great. And of course, they put it on the Switch. Now you have more tracks and everything like that. So cool.
Which one day I'll get.
Yeah, the Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, which I have, but I'm not opening. It's still in its cellophane wrap too. But from all the reviews I've seen, it is the worst Mario Tennis game.
I think you would probably make more money to sell it when
Yeah,
the time comes.
Yeah, that exactly. But that's why I'm leaving it in the cellophane wrap. So that is.
Yeah.
It's,
Plus, if you really wanted to, Aces was just an ace.
yeah, true. Let's see. New Super Mario Brothers U
It was okay.
launch game, not the Mario game that you want to launch your system with, and didn't really entice anybody to think, oh, this is better than what you can get on the Wii. So that was an unfortunate thing, and it's not the best of the 2D Mario games either. Nintendo Land pack-in, excellent actually. Nintendo Land is excellent.
Is that the Platinum Games one?
No, Nintendo Land. That's the amusement
Okay.
park thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Great multiplayer game. I played it a lot with my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law. Has some really, really fun modes in there. But if you're not a Nintendo fan, it's not gonna appeal to you. It has a really good Metroid game inside of it too. So a Metroid inspired game, and a good Zelda one as well. But unfortunately, it just it probably deserved a second life on the Switch. But I don't even know how some of those games would work because they were very Wii U centric. So not seeing that. Another Pac-Man and Ghostly Adventures, which is a dumb, really basic 3D platformer for Pac-Man. Not really good. Let's see. We have Paper Mario Color Splash. Not the best of the Paper Mario games. It's an alright game, an alright RPG. Has some moments where it's like, oh, that's pretty darn cool, with the graphic style. But aside from that, it's not really anything I would say to go out of your way for to play. Pikmin 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the Switch as well. It is excellent. Another excellent Pikmin game. My opinion, the game, the series keeps getting better with each entry. But this one was in HD. Has some pretty good visuals for the time. But yeah.
Also on the Switch, though.
Yeah, also on the Switch and probably better on the Switch. Pokken Tournament. Played it recently. That's actually the last game that I've beaten, really. And it's actually pretty good. It's simplified. It's not like Tekken completely, but it's simplified in that sense. And I think I guess the variety, I would assume that the Switch actually the deluxe version I saw on the Switch didn't add too much in comparison. Just a few more fighters. But aside from that, I think the gameplay is pretty solid. I think a third one could, or not a third one, but actual real second entry of the series could probably flesh things out a lot more, especially if you want some more variety with the Pokemon. But aside from that, it's actually fairly easy of a fighting game. Obviously, because it's a Pokemon series game, so it's not as daunting for kids out there. But it still had some challenges. But I didn't lose a single match in the entire game. I went completely undefeated. It takes like 100 battles before you beat the game. They have some extra stuff at the end, an extra, I guess, battle mode or something like that. But I honestly didn't have to. I saw what you get at the end of it, and it doesn't entice me to do so. So there you go. Rayman Legends.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Or did I play Origins? I'm not trying to remember.
Origins is good, but Legends is probably one of the best 2D platformers ever made. It is up there. It is the Rayman Legends is excellent, but also it released on everything else as well. So it's not even exclusive to the Wii U, but it is an excellent game. It's been released on everything.
Yep, it was Legends. All right.
Yeah, there you go. Really good.
I checked my thing.
Really good. Great visuals, great music. Great flow to it. That's basically what it is. It's flow. The games are meant to basically be to play speedrun. So it's just really good. And they haven't made another one since, which is insane to me. But they ported it to pretty much everything at this point, so you can play it.
It's Ubisoft. When they actually do have something good, they'll neglect it if it can't hit teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. But then they'll crap out their next
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Or Far Cry.
Yeah, that too.
I haven't changed the formula at that damn series. Love 3, love 4. You know how I hated about 5. I was obsessed
I have
about
4. Maybe I'll play that at some point, but oh boy. Let's see. What is this? Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. That is an actually really good racing game. It's unique. It's great for Sega fans. If you're a Sega fan, it is amazing. It has amazing music. The visuals, so the songs from the Sonic games are pretty good. You have stuff from Super Monkey Ball, Skies of Arcadia, which is really cool to see in HD, making you think, man, Sega needs to remake a lot of games from their 3D era games because, Panzer Dragoon, Super Monkey Ball. There's so much that they could redo. They don't even have to make like completely new stories. You can just just remake your old stuff. Maybe people can fall in love with them again and see what you got from there, because there's a lot of series that need stuff. And then they have this final race course, which is called the Race of Ages, which is like the cybernetic type of world, and you have like floating Sega Saturns, Sega Genesis games, and the song is the main song from Space Harrier. So it is excellent. I don't know if you've heard it, Charles, the remix of this. It is really good. It'll make you cry. Yeah. So just a love letter to Sega fans. Unfortunately, they didn't keep up with the theme. They made Team Sonic Racing, which I played. It's kind of mid. Unfortunately, this one was really cool. The vehicles transform from boat to car to airplane. They have a level from Afterburner, which is excellent. Really, really cool sequence in that stage. So, yeah, Sega, please make another one of those. Or, I don't know, make an All-Stars Racing Transform Deluxe or something and put on the PS5 and the Xbox PC and the Switch 2, because it is really good. Let's see. Splatoon 1, Charles. The thing that forged our friendship.
Forged my friendship. Tony and I's friendship got stronger. Played with your cousin.
Yeah.
Took 130 hours of my life as a law student with 2.5 months or 3 months only played. And if I did not give up that game during the bar exam, I would not be a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generational, transformative. Love 3. I haven't touched 3 in a minute, but that's the problem with multiplayer. Sometimes you gotta, this man will tell you when 3 came out. We were grown men in our mid-30s. When 3 came out a year and a half ago, we put in we would play almost every night for the first 2 weeks, and then I'm like, I got court tomorrow, man. Imagine that with weird law school scheduling, which you can calendar it. You don't work during law school, truthfully, so you can calendar it to where you got class from 1 to 9 p.m. and then 10 p.m. you get home, eat your food, put on that Wii U.
Yep.
10 to 2, baby.
Yeah.
Tony and I were putting in that work. You, me, your cousin were putting in that work.
Yeah.
Forge good friendships. Very, very one of the best games I ever played.
True. It was something new. That was the biggest thing from Nintendo.
There's something about just spreading your ink that just makes sense.
Yeah.
I just can't explain it.
It was pretty transformative. Probably one of the first actual multiplayer games I was willing to continue playing.
And it's the first multiplayer game that Nintendo got right.
Yeah.
And when I say Smash Brothers Online, Smash Brothers was good. Smash Brothers Online wasn't playable until you got to the Wii U one.
And even then, they didn't even get it right.
Mario Kart.
They didn't even get it really right on the Wii U either.
Yeah, and not an issue, truthfully, with Splatoon at all. So that's what it was refreshing.
Yeah,
and
true.
The beauty about not having to do chat with people for Splatoon, though sometimes I do need Nintendo to fix that eventually, just in case Splatoon 4 comes or a ported version of the Switch 2 one. Just listen to all of my music and doing that for hours on end. Oh, and the music was also good too. I can't. There's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Name your first child Splatoon or Inkling. It's okay.
Yeah. Splatoon 1 was great. It enticed me to keep playing it, to play it multiplayer, because it just had a single player story, but that's not the focus in any of the games. And I was never really a shooter guy, especially didn't have a 360 or any of that. I didn't experience that era of gaming, and honestly it still doesn't really appeal to me either. But Splatoon does. The spin on a shooting game, and of course Nintendo's what gets me to do that. And really the only multiplayer game where I feel like, hey, I'm actually pretty damn good at this. So, yeah, it's just a lot of love for Splatoon. Let's see, another game that is also on the Switch now. That's the trouble with the Wii U. There's not really much to come back to anymore.
Nope.
Super Mario 3D World.
Which also got ported.
Yep, and got an extra mode as well. So, 3D World. Really good. It's a really good game. Works as a 4-player multiplayer game as well for going through the entire adventure with. I played through it with my sister. The final levels of the game are unbelievably hard if you want to 100% this game. So it does have some actual real massive challenge, actually more than you would get in Mario Odyssey at this point. Those final levels in Mario 3D World are probably the hardest ones in any Mario game. And would probably be the hardest ones in a lot of other video games as well. Just the sheer difficulty to 100% that game. It was good, but at the same time, it's very, aside from some levels, it's a pretty sterile Mario game. Doesn't have the personality.
It's a very safe bet game.
Exactly. It doesn't
But it did give you Kitty Cat Mario.
True. But it doesn't have the personality or the variety, just the sheer, I guess, the risk-taking that Mario Odyssey did.
Yeah, Mario 3D World was very, shut up, bitch, you know you love it. 5.
Yeah.
That's how it felt, because you didn't have the Wii U, and this is going to bring in circular to the argument, or the conversation started. When I say that brother was starving,
Yeah.
When it came to that console. So this was really like what we had that was its own original gig without being a remake, a port, and just something. This was Nintendo's only 3D game for Mario, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So it was that in Pikmin 3, you guys, because even Wind Waker HD, which was my first go at a Zelda game, which I loved, I thoroughly did enjoy it, that was a remake or port, so you can't get all the credit.
No, it's not not there. But
But
3D
because you
World,
had no online functionality with 3D World, you can play with
true.
friends.
Yeah,
I have a
had to
little
be in person.
efficiency. I had a little efficiency. The girl I was dating at that time, if she was coming over, she think I'm probably gonna be like, be like, oh, come to my small little thing. Well, here's my kitchen. Here's a Wii. Let's do this or Wii U. The only good thing about the Wii U and it's gonna relate back to combo is that the carryover of the accessories was very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you were
Because
gaming,
remember, it was backwards compatible too,
right?
right?
Yeah, if you were gaming on a budget and you were just one person and you had all this stuff from the Wii, it would all work on the Wii U for the most part. So that was really the only good thing of, not the only good thing about it, but it was one of the major good things about it. If you did so, and a lot of games still required you to use the Wii remote and everything like that. So that was cool enough as it is, but yeah, 3D World, excellent game, but you got a better version on the Switch, which actually does have an online co-op mode now, and so really no reason to go back to this one either. Wii Fit U, which is the best version of Wii Fit, but it's on the Wii U, so there's not really much I can say that the gamepad added to a game like that either. And then finally, Yoshi's Woolly World. I mean, a pretty good Yoshi game. I actually like its aesthetic more than Crafted World, to be honest. Got the little Yarn Yoshi amiibos, which were pretty cool. The Wii U had the amiibos. Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's all. Yeah.
I had Zelda Wind Waker, but
Mm-hmm.
on my hard drive, and I also had Bayonetta 1 and 2.
There you go. Yeah.
So, but of course, all those games are, except for Wind Waker, but Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 are on the Switch too as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's there's not much to go back to at this point. The Wii U has been made obsolete by Nintendo themselves because,
So
yeah,
this brings into the hard part of the conversation.
Hmm.
Was it just a bad console? Even with the games there, because you have to judge it on the production of the console itself
yeah,
and then what's there to play for it. Because a lot of people revere the Dreamcast,
true.
and I didn't have one, so I can't speak to it, but at least the Dreamcast gave you some innovative, ingenious games that came with it.
The
And I look back at
Dreamcast.
the Wii U, and I'm like, I got Splatoon 1. And
Yeah,
that's the only game I will associate with it. Because Bayonetta 2 was a exclusive
right,
to the Wii U, but aside from getting ported to the Switch and all that stuff, Bayonetta 1 was
right.
multi-platform. So I can't even give that, even though Bayonetta 2 was said to be, like, I would say top 5 of the Wii U gaming era in a very small selection of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you do define the games on what it did creatively, if it's console, but also like the seminal games. And it kind of felt like Nintendo was just gonna be like, we're going to see where this takes us because this was the original idea to begin with. And, you know, the Smash Brothers on the Switch is the best Smash Brothers. Sorry, you guys can have your melee fun go from there is the
Yeah,
perfect thing. The same thing how I feel about Mario Kart. So those games, which I loved the Wii U component of it. I mean, Mario Kart 8 is essentially the remake, and I bought that remake.
mm.
Ridiculous. I was like, oh, they added this. I'm like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah,
But you're not even getting the perfect form of it. Because Melee has a special spot for, I think, for a lot of people. Why I couldn't tell you to remember because I didn't have it on the GameCube. I played at friends' houses a lot. You know
right.
what I mean? So maybe it's a different kind of love. But you had no trend-setting game aside for Splatoon 1. The console's performance wasn't really. It was still in the 480p world, if I'm not mistaken. They were not in 1080p, right? They didn't get to that level yet.
For what?
So for the Wii U, so it was 720p, right?
Well,
That was
the
their
Wii U. I mean, it is an
really.
HD console, but you're not. Yeah, you wouldn't get 1080p on a lot of games, and if you did, it was probably like New Super Mario Brothers. You know.
They banked on this is what the problem with the Wii U was, right? Where you talk about console performance and stuff like that. And it's okay to have, weird little niche accessories. I'm playing my PS5 right now, and truthfully, I know the Xbox is a stronger console, but I like the haptic feedbacks, if that's their calling to it. the Wii U relied on two things, and that's why I just think that they couldn't give you the gaming production they want to try to. They relied on amiibo money, and they relied on the gamepad. The gamepad I kind of hated because it was too bulky, in my opinion.
Hmm.
For me, only for me, it was fine for certain games, but I rather have other weird things with it, especially if I could play with the Pro controller or a wired controller or with my own Wii console controller, right? So that kind of, and it make it obsolete, but whatever. You always had to charge it too. That's something that only held like 2 hour charge, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they try to go on the multi appeal that's both a Wii and a Wii U kind of games that you can play. The backward, always love backwards compatibility because it makes me want to just try stuff, but it's not like it upscaled it.
No.
And the amiibo target was great because I love knickknacks. I have pops and amiibos I'll bring into my office. So that's fine. Man, that Sora amiibo is coming to daddy at some point. But I think it was rather disappointing. That's why I'm just like, for all what it was. Remember the GameCube novelty was you can bring it anywhere because it was easy? Seriously, it was.
And and the games that it had, and it still has, a lot of games that are still not anywhere else. Nintendo hasn't really re-released them.
There's more than five games that define that console. Double Dash, they had Double Dash, they had Melee. I'm not complaining about it being less better. I'm just saying they had Metroid, all the Metroids. They had your Star Oceans and all that weird stuff that came into it. You had other games. You had your Luigi's Mansion. You had Mario Sunshine. You had all these things. So it sounds like there's diversity. They're like, you get Mario 3D World, which was a soft 8. You get Splatoon 1. I'm giving that 9.5.
Yeah.
You have no Metroid whatsoever. At least the Switch gave you like a remake and then the 2D Metroids.
Right.
Right. With Metroid, help me with the name because
Dread.
Dread. That came into it.
Dread. Mm-hmm.
You even got you got Star Fox on the Wii U, and I love it. I bought it, but it was not perfect because it was like a blend. But you also got like 2 Star Foxes on the GameCube because it was Dinosaur Adventures, which is underrated, just saying. Mm-hmm. And you also got the Allied Assault one that they had. So you had all these major things, and then the Wii U, I'm like, I couldn't tell you, man. I couldn't tell you because really, we're gonna say 3D World, we're gonna say Beta 2, and I'm gonna give you Splatoon. I'll give you Smash, sure, but and I did play with my boys on it. That's fine, but I don't think fondly about the game itself because I have something greater.
If you play, and this is the thing that I did too, I did go back to try and play some of those games. I played Smash Brothers for Wii U. It is incredible how much visual flair Ultimate has compared to that one.
Mm-hmm.
It is
maybe Ultimate.
Absolute, like just the pacing, the speed, the visual flares of just everything in that game is just not as good as Ultimate. Ultimate just completely, utterly.
The controller is very responsive too.
Yeah, exactly as well. So all of that.
And the online's better.
Yeah, online's better. The Wii U was weird with its controllers as well. You had the Wii U Pro controller, which I do have, but it had the
my love for the Pro controller.
The joysticks are on the top, and which is kind of weird in a sense like that. And only had Rumble, didn't have the NFC stuff for the amiibos or anything like that. Didn't have the motion controls either. So it's fine, but in comparison to what they made with the Switch Pro controller, it's not as good. The D-pad's actually really good on the Wii U Pro controller, but I mean you can't really use it for anything else other than the Wii U. It's kind of hard to even use that on PC. The Switch Pro controller you can use on the PC or anything you have really.
I can charge my phone with my Switch Pro controller cable because it's USB-AC, so I'm like, I'll never have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, and cable. The Wii was weird. You either had to use the gamepad on some games. You could only use the Wii remote in some games, in some modes, in some parts. If you played it on just the Wii, you can only use the Wii controllers and the classic controllers and the attachments. And then you had the GameCube controller attachment, but it only worked for Smash for Wii U, and that was the only game that would use it. It was weird with the Wii U, and we just kind of took it because all Nintendo gave us in that era. It was a really weird era of Nintendo,
And
to be
you and
honest.
I have also just owned every Nintendo console.
Yep.
I got the Wii U, and I complain about law school making me broke and me taking all those loans. But sometimes, hey, if I'm gonna have like a manic depressive episode, I'm gonna at least play video games till I come home after law school. I got it 2L year, I believe,
Mm.
or three, yeah, 2L year, because the first year it wasn't selling so hot, so they gave you the same price that you bought, which I think was like $300. You also got Mario Kart and an additional controller without cost. So you take that deal. So the hours I put in was probably worth the investment, but they were desperate. But I did get it. It was not like a burner. The only one that I bought that I wanted day one was the Wii. I was not a professional attorney yet when the Switch first launched. I got it a couple months later. When did I get my job? Like in October of 2017 is when I bought the Switch. So I've been a day one boy. We both have. But the Wii U, I was like, let's see.
Yeah.
But if I never got it, there would be no Splatoon 1. Because I'll say this now. Upon playing, think about 1, how much I love it, and then my love for 3, Splatoon 2 is fucking trash. I'm saying it. 6. Hurts to say that, but it's true. There's always that middle child that's an idiot.
So,
but
yeah.
Your thoughts?
So, yeah,
Is it a bad console?
Final thoughts, right? Final thoughts here on the Wii U and then the eulogy that we're giving it at this point, especially mine because it's about to go out. Sidebar with that is homebrew. If you want to get anything out of that console, you should hack it. And now's the time. Nintendo stopped caring about it. They're not updating anymore. So people can finally hack it in the final version that it had, and just hack it and get an SSD and find a way to store some games on there and just play them off of there if you want to go through some of the very few exclusives that are on there, but there are some. Or if you got a nice big beefy gaming PC, they've got an emulator for it now. So you can play the games there too if you want to experience some of the few rare good games that were on the Wii U. But because as much as the gamepad was there, only Nintendo really knew how to actually give a shit on how to actually develop for it. So there's not much there. And even like the third parties, even the indie games didn't use them at all. So that was, the only real indie game that I remember from that, which I really liked, was Freedom Planet. And that was because it was originally a Sonic the Hedgehog fan game. And then they decided, hey, this is actually a pretty good base. We can just make this into our own thing. And they converted it into that. They made a second one. I still haven't gotten it on PC. I might get it on the Switch when that comes out because they haven't ported it just yet. But regardless, that was the only real indie game that I remember that stuck out to me from that era. But hack your Wii U if you can. I did to get mine to be able to play GameCube games. So I can play my entire GameCube library, my Wii library on there. I haven't hacked it to play Wii U games off of a hard drive just yet, but maybe I'll go back into it. But even then, I have the PC, and it's got an emulator there. And even though it would run better on the Wii U itself as native hardware, I don't know if I want to go through that effort of keeping it. Like, I'm trying to retire it and put it away, but it's going to be really hard to go back to. So it was, it's a 7 out of 10 console because it's not completely worthless. I would say it's in that same, actually less of a vein than the Dreamcast. I would give the Dreamcast like an 8 out of 10 as a console, or at least an 8.5 at max.
I think we made a good comparison saying how it's different from the Dreamcast.
You did say that, and I actually had a Dreamcast, so I remember some of the games that were on there. Quake 3 Arena was a good FPS on there, and they've got a few games that they didn't port over to the Xbox or the PS2 or the GameCube, so that have not even made their way onto modern systems either. There's a bunch of third parties as well that have not sold games that were on the Dreamcast elsewhere either. So I guess if you wanted to collect, the Dreamcast would be a good one to go back to because there's not many of them. There's only like 9 million of them that were ever made, and unless you get an emulator, and even then, emulating that would be more of a I have an emulator on my PC, so I feel like that would be more of a more worthwhile endeavor in comparison to the Wii U. So, but the Wii U was not bad, just not great, and there's not much to go back to. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 in retrospect.
6.5 out of 10.
Okay,
So we're in
that's
that
not bad.
ratio.
Yeah,
We're in that ratio. I think it's.
yeah.
But
No, I was just gonna say I gave it the 0.5 bump because it's a pretty good console to hack, because it'll play, Genesis emulators, NES, Super Nintendo, and N64 one's kind of weak, but GameCube and Wii, you can play all of that on that system if you want just something that you can plug to your TV that has HDMI.
yeah, 6.5 for me just because of things that we talked about. But what keeps it from being the 6 is they did at least hit it right. Created the only original franchise in a while with Splatoon, like hands down. Because I never really bought a lot of amiibos. I only have like 2, I think, and I thought it was a neat idea, but you always felt like it was there. And listen, when you're a broke law student and when you do come home from the holidays and you want to play with your 8-year-old, 9-year-old nephew and then your family, being able not to have to buy new accessories really helps out. Sony looking at you like, yeah, I can play PS4 controllers and stuff like that, but I'm talking about like with the PS5 games. That's just what Nintendo, when you do get that Switch 2 out, let's just not have that happen. Just make great things. And for the love of God, give Francisco his Metro Prime 4. For the love of God, give me my Star Fox that's due, big time due. And then, a Splatoon. I don't need a Splatoon 4. I just want to see Splatoon in a 4K resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would make sense. It's going to be so pretty.
Yeah.
It's going to be so pretty. It's going to be so pretty. It's just you're already a handsome person. You just got a haircut. It's basically Beyonce going with the blonde hair. You already know greatness right there, buds.
So
that's why I want my Splatoon 3.
We are at 1 hour and 8 minutes, Charles. So let's do a word from our non-sponsors, people and places, things, concepts. What we've been enjoying over the last week, and I guess I'll keep going here because I already know mine. And mine is a specific YouTube channel which has ignited something within me that I didn't know was within me, but now it is, and now I'm kind of on a bit of a kick of this right now. So it is called Salem Techsperts. It is this dude. I guess I'm assuming they're in Salem, Massachusetts, if I'm getting that right. But just a tech repair shop. But they have like 830,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Jesus.
And he does YouTube shorts. His shorts are really good. He has some videos, but it's just this guy that does PC repair. And he goes into these computers that he receives from people, and you see all the nightmares that can happen, and I don't know what people do to their computers, but it is nasty. It is awful in a lot of these things. I don't know how it can get that dirty, but sometimes years get up there and just situations, and I have no idea. Computers are everywhere, right? So sometimes you just don't know, but just how he opens them up and is like, hey, he kind of explains it to you, but he does it in a nice, humorous fashion, right? So just kind of gets close to basic sexual innuendo and things like that. Just things that make me laugh, for sure. My kind of humor. And I just like the way he presents his channel. I like his shorts on here as well. And yeah, so... but it did ignite something within me, Charles. I am on a computer repair, opening, upgrading kick right now. And that was another thing, another ripple effect from Alan Wake 2, this game that has transformed us completely. You've gone introspective for sure since you started playing that. I certainly just wanted to learn how to upgrade and repair computers and finish. So the game has affected us in many different ways, but the game forced me to upgrade my PC, and that actually forced me to learn about computers and how the things inside function. And now I have repaired 2 old laptops at my parents' house. 12-year-old and 11-year-old. One of them used to be mine, and I've returned them back to life and upgraded them with SSDs and higher RAM, and I'm gonna give them to my niece and my nephew. And really, just this, along with Alan Wake 2, this channel, they've kind of ignited something within me, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm out. Yesterday, I was cleaning my old laptop to give to my nephew and fixing it up, and that's what I did after I worked out yesterday, Charles. That's how I spent my time. I put on the anime ghost stories and listened to all the not safe for work on PC humor that show has, and man, I went to sleep late because I was just having a lot of fun just doing that. So yeah, promo code gosh, what's something that he says all the time, the greatest technician that ever lived.
I will tell you, I would love to have something else playing in my YouTube and in my head besides anything Alan Wake related. Because I love me some Post the Fall, but man, I was listening to Herald Darkness earlier today because it was just like going on there. It happens, guys. It happens.
Instrumental and start singing to it as if it's karaoke.
I know, right? And mine is, I think it makes sense. We've kind of alluded a little bit itself, and this is probably going to be the most Floridian non-sponsor I ever give you guys because it's really based out in Lakeland, Florida. So my non-sponsor is Publix. I know it feels very white boy Florida out of it, but I had today for lunch. Polk County. I had today for lunch the hot honey sandwich, which Florida is Panthers what you call the Panthers one, and it was just delicious. I'm not even gonna play it because the one I had last week actually was kind of screwed up a little bit because the Publix I went to near the satellite office was not, they didn't have the fried pickles. I don't care about pickles like that, but if you're gonna curate a specialty sub, I want to try the bells and whistles. I want to see what your baby is. And so having like regular pickles on a sub, like a chicken tender sub, was disgusting. And you still get a little bit of taste of it. Like it was still fine, but whatever. So this time, it was during lunchtime. I went to one that's near my satellite office, but in a different approach because I was coming back from the courthouse. So I had it with the hot honey, the bacon, lettuce, no tomatoes. I like tomatoes on a lot of things, burgers and sandwiches. I actually am not as fond of them anymore on a chicken tender sub. On a chicken wrap, sure, because you dice them. But because the bread is not big and overlapping on the Publix subs, it's like, what do I need it? I know this might sound weird, but the lady's like, do you want mayo and mayonnaise? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, mayo and mustard. I'm like, yeah. So I took the mayo. Mayo's a fine finish. Some people don't like it. I absolutely adore mayo. It's soft. It adds a little bit of a good tang to it. And I went honey mustard additionally for it. And with the bacon, I just did a lettuce and I had it toasted, and it was 8 is great because I actually used to say that the Publix chicken tender subs were just kind of overrated if you didn't do it a particular way. Because I'll see people who just eat it by itself without dressing it whatsoever with any kind of sauces. And I was like, son, what is wrong with you? Like, you're allowed to be a little creative here. But it was fantastic. But I've been going to Publix a lot because like I live by Walmart, so I'll buy the big stuff at Walmart. But it's the sales that they're kind of also running on the Super Bowl that kind of made me have to get a shout out because I've been to Publix and I picked up the sub today. I got myself a Arizona iced tea mango fresh, so the carbs and sugars were just so high. But I was like, if I'm gonna have something like this, I might be salty because that bacon is so good. I was like, I need something sweet to come into it. Last week when I was there, I got the Reese's miniature cups that had the Reese's Puff cereal in there, which I think I sent to you guys. Before I went to Houdini's to go to the Super Bowl party, they would do a buy one, get one free on the party size chips. And guys, I understand what you're saying. Churros is not free. If I'm spending $6.99 or $7.99 and I'm getting another one that's free for $7.99, then the party size are both $3.50 when your general size is like $4, $5 now. I'm an opportunist, baby, coming into it. So I got my Ruffles because they have riches, and then I got him the Doritos nachos. I love him Doritos. I got the nachos, and I also got the Voodoo Dust pretzels, which is like a pseudo side non-sponsored. The Zappa's Voodoo Dust pretzels, delicious, just delicious. The chips are fine. I don't care for kettle corn chips, that more kettle chips like that. But those things, go get them at Publix. Zappas or Zaps, Voodoo pretzels, delicious. I get my bread there when it's buy one get one sale, and I buy my snacks there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give them their due. There was a couple of people I could have given into it. Are they expensive? Sure, but I don't grocery really shop there. I have particular things I get: my lunch, snacks. If I want to buy one get one frees on chips or bread or snacks, so it does its job.
True.
Never buy snacks at gas stations. Just saying, because they're always gonna be charging on like. So, I live in Polk County. I remember when they had a gas station called Pix. And Publix has just followed me since 1997 on, and they are my non-sponsor. Promo code fried crispy pickles. I had to do it, man. And you were like, "Oh, they're hard." I'm like, "Well, damn, I gotta see." And you know what's funny? She didn't have them.
She put a bunch of and it kind of made me jealous, to be honest, because the ones that I've gotten have kind of been light on the fried dill pickles, and yours look like, man, looks very extra crispy in that sense. And I'm like, oh, I kind of would have loved that kind of texture on it.
Let me tell you the story to it very briefly. Is because she was getting it, and I asked her, honey, and like, you know, I don't need pickles on this damn thing. Like, if I can dress it the way I want, they were fine, but I had to try it that way. But I asked her, I'm like, hi, do you have the fried pickles that are in there? Because the other Publix I went to just gave me regular pickles, and I rather have no pickles if you don't have it. And it's like, well, I'm sure we do. This is like my second one that you're making, but we'll go from there. And then she went above and beyond.
Nice.
Tori at Publix went above and beyond because they were out of it. So they talked to the other lady and they found it. And that's why she just dressed the thing that she probably thought it was the most important thing in my life. Well, for that time of day, yes.
Yeah.
That's why she overdid. I'm like, sure.
Lunch,
She's like,
man.
and she goes to me, she's like, do you want more? I'm like, no, I think it's fine. Probably like 5 of them more than I want, but it's like, I'm going to respect that above and beyond behavior. So that's what happened, because I asked about it because I was like, the other Publix did this. If you don't have it, I don't want regular Publix. Because, you know, Publix, oh, not Publix, I'm sorry, I don't want those. So pickles. Pickle juice is not my cup of tea. I can understand maybe some people's love. My sister loves dill pickles, like the big long ones and everything like that. And, you know, my dad does too. But like actual size pickles, I think the juice ruins a lot of texture. Like, I grew up and I'm like, okay, if they have pickles on my hamburger, just pull it off. But it was generally McDonald's. It always messes that up. You know, you say you want a quarter pounder plain, but the other places don't. But it's not good on a regular chicken tender.
Okay. All right. So we are at an hour and 20. Let me see what's on this list here that I have. Let's see. So we talked about that. We talked about, I mean, there's kind of an uproar right now in baseball fans because the new uniforms that have come out, because Fanatics is making the uniforms now.
Yeah.
Even the official players' ones. And Nike is just licensing their logos to them, and the players don't like them. The fans don't like them. It is kind of a marketing fiasco amongst the baseball fans, the hardcore. I don't know if any of the casuals will notice, but
I'm gonna be honest with you. I barely notice it.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, for me, I definitely notice it, and just advising people, if you're gonna spend $175 on a baseball jersey, you would want that thing to at least look the part, and unfortunately, these do not. So, yeah, but honestly, I don't feel like buying jerseys in my case, to be honest, because I think but I can go on eBay if I want the old Marlins stuff. I can find it someplace. I
think it's because look at my fan base. It's always pinstripes or the grays, man.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything different. So
yeah, exactly. Like the Yankees jerseys. I mean, you can get one on eBay or Goodwill or whatever, and you'll basically have the same look that you've had for like a century. So that doesn't make much of a difference for Yankees.
You know my hat collection. Yeah. I actually have more hats that are Yankee based because I go for the weird novelty stuff.
Yeah.
Than the other ones, because you know there's the old. I'm looking up now. There's the old blue. There's my black and white. There's like there's one I saw that was kind of sexy. I'm like, Charles, you look goofy, man. You look goofy, but it's the it's like black rimmed white top, and then it has the circle of like the little Yankee guy, you know, the face. I was like, I need that. I need that. And I don't even wear hats anymore, but I'm like, I need it.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there in the NHL. I don't know if I showed you this, Charles, with Morgan Riley. He I forgot which player it was for Ottawa, but basically it was an empty netter, and the guy did a big old full motion slap shot into the empty net, and then Morgan Riley basically boarded him and shoved him to the ground, and it's caused a big stink. And we are back in the conversation this time in hockey as to the unwritten rules. And some people are like, "Yeah, he should have done that," and other people are like, "Come on, man, that's some shit, man. That's some bullshit right there." 3. I haven't so.
I think you're 4.
Maybe 4. I'm at the. I'm
at 7, I think.
I like the obviously a slap shot. It's Ottawa versus Toronto. It's a rivalry game in that sense, the Battle of Ontario, and it's nice beating the Leafs for sure. So yeah, doing an entire full motion slap shot is definitely a very much a fuck you. 5.
So what did he do that's so bad about doing full motion slap shot?
It's an empty net. You just kind of
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the empty net part.
You guide it into the net, and that's it. But by doing a full motion slap shot when there's nobody in net, and that's basically a go fuck yourself sex type of move right there. And of course, Morgan Riley did not take too kindly to that, and that's what happened. So, basically, same issues with people bat flipping and things like that in baseball. The same sentiment. What you can and can't do, how you can celebrate, but it's hockey. It's we're gonna get more of these as players become more showboaty, and as the game is becoming more and more averse to having their players be routinely concussed. Right? They luckily got through it with Sidney Crosby, who got concussed a lot earlier in his career. And hey, people like having their players, the flashy superstar players on the ice. You don't want your shiny new Connor Bedard to be severely injured because he showboated a bit. You know what I mean? Right? He's gone through enough. Corey Perry slept with his mom,
allegedly.
So there you go.
If I can pick at that for 2 seconds on unwritten rules, and this because I can contribute to hockey. I have the game. I go see games these days. I fell asleep to Hulu of Minnesota Wild last night, I believe. If it's not a penalty, if it's not a foul, whatever you call it, it's not breaking anything, guys. Let it go. Bat flip's fine. Even if you're doing the slap shot, you call it an unwritten rule, but if it's not actually a violation of what's in the guidelines and the playbooks, just let it go, right? Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be putting yourself in a position to where your team has to do a empty net to begin with, right?
Yeah, it's that's what's going on, and I mean, it's just
I feel like Andrew would be the one trying to hype me up on how unwritten rules are just the rules. I'm like, okay, it's not.
I mean, the thing is with this, Morgan Riley.
It's what you call decorum, right? Behavior.
Exactly. I mean, Morgan Riley's not like an old fogey type of thing like Brian McCann was when he was with the Braves. Just a fucking asshole. 8. I got 2 there. But Morgan Riley's 29 years old, so he's been in the league since 2013. He's when he was like 20 years old or something. He's been in the league a long time, and I guess that was at the beginning of this transition, or actually towards the end of this transition, where the game is becoming more skilled, much faster. You're getting rid of enforcers and guys like that. So he did come up towards the tail end of that era, and so maybe you can kind of give it to him as, hey, he's kind of laying down the law in that sort of sense of what the old school was like back when they still had some enforcers hanging around. But NHL's on ESPN. They're trying to be cool. They're trying to be hip. How do you do, fellow kids? Type of thing going on right now. And the rough and tumble stuff should still be in there because I went to a few sporting events. Actually, I went to some sporting events last week. I went to 2 of them.
Caribe.
Yeah, I went to a hockey game. So I took one of my uncles and one of my cousins to their first hockey game. They're from Nicaragua. Definitely, I've never seen anything like that. I've only seen like videos on the internet of hockey, and one of them, my cousin, he came away enthralled, just like of how the speed, the physicality, players pushing each other, not flopping onto the ground and rolling over 50,000 times like in soccer. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a much different sport, and we had a good time at the Panthers game. They won, which was always really nice. And it was a pretty compelling game against the Washington Capitals. I saw Alex Ovechkin score a goal, another step closer to getting to Wayne Gretzky's record. So that was pretty cool to see as well. And yeah, always a good time at the Panthers game. You went to a Panthers game.
I did.
You had some pretty good seats.
And now that you made me, well, you know what, man? SeatGeek, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I paid overpriced. I have to revisit that on the actual thing. But now that if you did Ovechkin, I have to recalendar us because I want you to double down. But it was good seats. I will tell you this, maybe the last game you and I went to last year.
The Rangers game.
It was kind of, I don't want to say it was kind of forgettable, but we were just like shooting shit.
Yeah, we were, and New Yorkers, your people were there.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a great game. But this was a 4-0 shutout.
Yeah,
and I was
really good hockey team in the.
I was looking at the stats and everything like that because I'm a hockey fan now, and I was just looking into it. I was like, it was Bobrovsky did fantastic.
Yeah.
Reinhardt did his thing. Verhey was doing his stuff. Even seeing the Avalanche, who was at that time, I think, second in the West. And I only know like a few of the guys on there. I know Cale Makar, of course, now. And cover. Then, Forsberg is the other one.
Nate McKinnon.
Coming into it. And then even got the goalie's name, Alexei Gadozhov. But I was talking that trash a little bit. That angle, man, I think if I ever go back, we're going to set something up, but if I go, I want to get kind of like that angle because it was interesting seeing it from a shot perspective, but also seeing on what a rush could look like on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It was good as dynamic. It was very physical. And I think that's what's been lacking on the several ones I've gone to. Because I've actually gone to a lot of Panthers games. People were surprised because remember back in high school days, circa 2005 on, when they had the thing with Miami subs, you get free tickets if you buy a meal. So we would just, get those tickets, but we would also sit where we want to sit because it was an empty house half the time. Sorry. So I've seen it. I had the old names and things of that nature, but the way they're playing now is very intense. The fact that it was against a great team was fine. And I got to tell you, because winning is good. And this goes to the Kansas City Chiefs kind of mindset. And it's going to be hopefully the Panthers is that, if you win, people will come, and if people are there amongst fandoms, people get hyped. There was a couple of Colorado Avalanche fans there, and I was like, "What? Yeah, people like wearing the jerseys." So it was probably the best one experience I've had, and the tickets are cheap enough. My ticket was like $104, so not the worst from what I said, which I think is fine. But I could follow the puck a little bit easier. Like I said, I want to revisit that and see. I'm when we do our thing, I don't know if I'm dropping 104 again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always like to at least do my big sporting events, at least be in visible seats. Baseball, I'm always on the Yankees side when I go see them in the Marlins. I'm not going back to the Trop guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, Andrew. I'm not driving 4 hours, especially if we lose that game. Heat game, it was really, you talk about credit.
I don't think the Yankees come here this year.
No. Well, remember, interleague play, I think the new rule is...
It's every other year, so...
if you guys tell me to go to New York, then maybe.
Wait,
it just depends.
Wait, isn't every other year?
Well, I think that the new rule is that they have to play
at least one series.
Every team.
Okay, yeah. So at least 2 games. Okay,
I'm like iron that, but I will say this, Francisco, if they win the Stanley Cup, I'm just saying, I went to a Panthers game last year. They went to the Stanley Cup. I went to a Heat game last year. They went to the NBA Finals. If the Panthers go this year, because I was there, the Trujillo luck is real. I've explained the Trujillo luck before to people. So we did last couple weeks ago on the Royal Rumble stuff to see for how you, me, and Andrew went. And maybe I know what you're saying, hey Charles, but you have Andrew and Francisco, so they didn't go anywhere that year. Sure, it's not supposed to be every year. I'm not sports messiahing this stuff. Yeah, I can't heal a cripple here. But it's a possibility. It's a possibility that we got something special going on right here, and you know, it was enjoyable. And I don't have a home team, but because I'm invested in the Panthers, and because I've gone to a couple games, like I feel like they're becoming a little bit of the tribe, a little bit of the tribe. You know, I can support them in theory, and I love the Vamos Gatos design. And I do love the little palm tree design too on some of those jerseys. But it's also very funny seeing people like Sam Reinhart or seeing Verhey or other guys try to say "Vamos Gatos."
Yeah,
Vamos Gatos. I cracked up. I cracked up a little bit because it just sounds like me for real.
He just like me. He just like me. Yeah. So saw that. Went to the final for the Serie de Caribe. So the Caribbean series for the first time ever in the United States, in Miami, Florida. So the Marlins hosted it, and the Marlins hosted it. They broadcasted it. They have the rights to broadcast it, like in the next few years as well, even when it's not in Miami. So that's their endeavor right now. The Marlins are really pushing this home of baseball initiative right now. Yes. So they're trying to be Latin America's team. It's still the Yankees at this point. They're not Latin America's team, right? Or los Dodgers at this point. But the Marlins, you know, might want to sign a free agent or two at some point if they want to become the home of baseball. But it really does go to show that there are baseball fans in South Florida. They're just not fans of the Marlins. Or if they are, the Marlins have not given them much of anything to come see. And there's just a lot of things that they've done wrong that has kept people away. But it's not for lack of anybody in the market. This is a baseball market. It can be. Just the actual home team that plays here has done a lot to give people reasons to not show up. So,
I mean, you know, it says something when your franchise has 2 World Series and has, let's start with the teams that never won a World Series.
Yeah, like, you know, Colorado Avalanche fans, or not Avalanche fans, Colorado Rockies fans, they're cucks. They are complete. Is that a curse word? That's not a curse word.
How do you define insults? You know.
Well, I'm insulting them. That's for sure. But they're cucks. They're the biggest cucks in baseball.
If you're a Googleable term and not a protected class, I'm not going to say it's a curse word.
Yeah, okay. It's an Urban Dictionary. Regardless, they are. But somehow they show up, and they go, and you know. But even then, they're not really a good example because those people are just fucking stupid. 9. Now that's a real insult.
I think the San Francisco Giants.
The Giants are a good one, but
I'm not counting the old. Like we've been around since 1890. Yeah, that's why I'm not count. I'm saying like I'm counting them as our example.
Arizona Diamondbacks. Like, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a solid fan base. They've got one World Series and 2 appearances, right? They've had some success. They've won the division a few times, and they've got a solid fan base, to be honest. So the Arizona Diamondbacks is what you would
Giants are a bad example because I forgot the trilogy with
of course
Bocce.
But
even though, granted, I'm gonna mess with you. That was 10 years ago, dude.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, the Giants won like 100 games in 2021. Remember that under Babe Kapler. So you know, and that fan base is really, really good, and they have reasons to go to that ballpark.
White Sox is a better example.
Yeah, they're trying to
because I mean, the Diamondbacks literally just got to the World Series. They might not have won, but they got to the World Series. Mm-hmm. The White Sox have just been obscurity.
The White Sox won the World Series, and nobody remembers.
Yeah, and they'll still show up though.
Yeah,
because Michael Jordan was there.
Yeah, they'll show up when the White Sox are good, and well, they're gonna get a new stadium. They're trying to in actual Chicago downtown, so we'll see. But it was still a fun experience. I had never felt that building shake before, Charles.
Yeah,
I actually felt it this time. Like there were moments there. It was a 3-0. Venezuela won, so my people did win. I guess I can call them my people in that regards. I'm associated with them for work. I love arepas. I love baseball. I think I can be Venezuelan in that regards.
Family migrated
Yeah,
through
so
and through.
I should. It allowed me to tap into my. What the fuck do we call ourselves? It's 10. We don't
Venezuelans.
call like Puerto Rico calls has Boricua and all that stuff. I have
Yeah.
no idea what. It's no clue whatsoever. Nika's easy. We're Nikas. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And you have to enunciate pretty well when you when you say that around certain people. But
Yeah.
but but I don't know what I guess Venezolanos. That's what we are. So
Yeah, that's pretty
I
much how I
high
think
five
I
some
know it
people,
works.
right? It was great. Obviously the talent amongst my people is really good. That Bolivarians, influence.
Thank you,
You know what I
Simon
mean?
Bolivar.
Yeah, I'm just saying there was a lot of great talent
I mean,
at the ballpark.
so you're claiming Miguel Cabrera not just in your being a Marlins fandom, but also as being part of the tribe, huh?
Definitely Miguel Cabrera is Venezuelan. Obviously, I know he was there. He was wearing a Venezuelan hockey jersey. There's the
See,
Detroit influence in him.
I'm very jealous of you because of the notorieties of my lineage and everything like that. I get Pablo Escobar and Eva Perón.
True.
We don't win. We don't win here.
Yeah, or Juan Valdez for the coffee.
Yeah, right.
It's just you standing next to a donkey.
Pretty much.
Oh man, but it was good.
I guess
I would
Pele,
recommend.
I guess no, Pele's Brazilian, right?
Pele's Brazilian. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another Colombian.
Another Shakira.
Shakira. Some
Yeah.
people will be like Charles Messi. I'm like, I don't like football. Football.
Yeah. Yeah, but what else is Argentina famous for? Military coups. I don't know.
Yeah, that and, harboring Nazis.
There you go, as well. that works. Being
I don't want that to work.
being you're basically Italian. You know that, right? your lineage is probably drawn from there.
Telling people about like the Colombian aspect of me, like what I love, I guess the sidetrack. It's a sports show, everybody. And I know you know this too, especially since you live in Miami. When someone really loves to guess your culture, and then especially like what white Latinoism looks like, or white, I never say Latino, I say white Hispanic, and they really just are so wrong about it, and then they get shot, and then I get called Cuban a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense
and I'm like,
in some sense. Yeah,
sure. I've never seen a Cuban male with my kind of skin. Female, yeah, sure, actually. Like, but I've never seen like I'm like, what are you talking about, man? But like Argentina throws him, and then my paralegal always loved him because I know he's lying through his teeth. But he says, yeah, I knew you were Spanish the minute I saw you because I met him in a different job. And I'm like, what? How? He's like, your eyebrows, man. I'm like, shut the hell up. But he's not wrong because of Spaniardness of it. But then when I go and I tell people like, oh, I'm also Colombian as well. I'm like. They're like, Colombian. I'm like, yeah, my dad was born outside the village of Bogota. Like, he goes from there. And they're like looking at me because obviously Colombians have a look, but not everybody looks like Maluma. I'm sorry. Like, this is just what it is. I'm like, oh, you ever heard of like a Sephardic Jewish person? Like, that's what I think the congregation was. And it's just like my favorite thing. It's just my favorite thing. They lose into it. And for you, I met a lot more Nicaraguans living in Miami and then part of Palm Beach. But then, I think this is FIU, and I know it sounds terrible. Everybody to me was Cuban, right? Because that's so much of the hive culture in that school that it was refreshing to hear somebody say different stuff. You know what I mean? Because a good populace portion of our graduating classes and classmates were. I'm like, okay, man, I get it. Castro's bad. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not Ozzy Guillen over here. I'm like a full support of you.
He was Ozzy Guillen, manager of the Venezuelan team. I did throw some snark at him on my Marlins history account.
Well, if you're claiming me, you got to claim him too as your only Latino manager. Man. You're like, hold on, you got me there, bud.
Oh, gosh.
Now you got me looking at famous Colombian sport athletes.
I mean, he's. I have to rebroadcast that Marlins. When the Marlins had that basically a Hard Knocks version of baseball or baseball version of Hard Knocks, it lasted 2 seasons. They did the Giants and they won the World Series, and then they did the Marlins and 11. So there was some moments there with Ozzy Guillen. It's like, man, this guy's insane.
I really got nothing on Colombian athletes. I'll claim Messi, sure. You know, whatever, right?
That guy with the hair, Valderrama or whatever.
Yeah, Carlos Valderrama.
Yeah, there you go. Edgar Renteria, he was Colombian. Played a lot, baseball, a long time. World Series MVP, has 2 championships. So, aside from that, I have no idea other Colombian athletes. But and then the other Escobar that died because he got shot in a soccer game.
My question is, and I'll respect Edgar Renteria, even though he played for the Red Sox and everything like that. No, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, he played for the Red Sox, but he didn't win a World Series with them. So
no, it was like the 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to figure out because it's like you at least want somebody that you know. I don't really follow football, but I knew who Messi was. I knew who Edgar Renteria was. We all do, but it wasn't like he wasn't the straw that stirred the shake kind of guy.
But he was still one of the top shortstops in the league, just not in comparison to
remember where I came
guys.
from and who I grew up watching.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. We are at an hour 42. Is there anything more on this list? So I did do that. I talked about that. We talked about that. I mean, it's 9:08 real time here. We could do the cage. Can head on over.
Yeah.
I got nothing else.
We got to do the cage.
Anything for basketball? Nothing to send you? I mean,
basketball.
Kyle Lowry's gone. It's Philadelphia.
Heat are beating the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Doc Rivers, 69-52. So, nice. Different threads, same situation, Doc. Sorry. Jimmy, you take all the time you need, baby.
Yeah, man.
This is going to teach boys how to grow up and be men.
True.
You take all the time. We got you. Plus, it allows me to see Nikolai Jovic a little bit. Right now, he was our first-round pick last year. He's 4 of 6 with 14 points coming into it. We do need that offensive scoring. Bam's going to lead this. I have faith in man. What a turnaround from a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
But he got my – listen, you're in my respect. You understand the positioning. The critiques are small. Tyler, get your act together, bud.
He came back towards the end of that Boston game, which I did watch. The end.
If we had Boston like that without Jimmy, I don't feel. But I never feel bad about playing Boston. True. Whenever you ever me go, it'd be like it's never Boston that I'm like on. It was Philly that I'm like,
Guess who's in
every
Philly?
couple of years.
Kyle Lowry.
Oh yeah, the sellout. Look, I don't blame him. He has ties there, and look, if they feel that he is the missing. Look, the trade deadlines happen. I guess I'm going to give a 2-minute blurb.
Yeah, we can look at this, right?
Yeah, the trade deadlines happened. Philly, to me, had the best play out of it because of the fact that Joe Embiid tore his meniscus. It's unfortunate, but they traded for Buddy Hield. They got Kyle Lowry from the buyout. They're going to stack that team to really run through Maxey. And Nick Nurse is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
You do not win
People forget that
in your first year with a plug-and-play superstar with Kawhi and get it done. Yes, I understand. I have made the argument about it being an asterisk because of all the injuries that happen to Warriors, but worse coaches tend to not get the job done. So at least he got the job done.
I'm going to go down this list because the NBA has the official tracker that they had.
Sure. Hey.
So the Mavs got PJ Washington, Mr. Not Wear Rubber. From Charlotte. They sent over Seth Curry and Grant Williams on over there. So Seth's back at his daddy's old team there. The Sixers got Buddy Hield.
Well, they also got Grant Williams. And the thing is, he was their marquee quotable words for Dallas, and I guess it just wasn't working out.
So Buddy Hield went over to Philadelphia as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like it for the 76ers. I mean, Buddy's a little older, so that's why I don't think the Pacers were going to pay him out. Mm-hmm. But, doing good and winning a title, possibly winning a title, is something that you want because the Pacers, could be inconsistent.
The Suns got Royce O'Neal from the Nets. The Thunder got Gordon Hayward from Charlotte.
Let's see. I mean, if he's healthy, that's a very complete team as it is.
Yeah, they're going for it.
And it's just amazing. Building the right way.
The Knicks got Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic.
Fuck them. 10.
The Nets got Dennis Schroeder from Toronto. Of course, Pat Bev went over to Milwaukee.
So real quickly, because you passed on Spencer Dinwiddie, because sometimes you wonder why they do those trades, but it's a way of
that's
kind of
right.
doing.
Yeah,
It's a way of waiving somebody,
Mhm.
but you get players out of it, right? And then now Dinwiddie went to the Lakers, which is a Laker move. It's a Laker move. We talk all that crap, but let's remember they went to the Western Conference last year. They got smoked, sure, but it's better to at least do short-term rentals and get somewhere
and see if
as
they can
opposed to
get
just
a
not doing
spark
it.
with LeBron on the team. You never know.
Yep.
And AD. Then you had some draft pick swaps. Jaden Springer goes to Boston. The Blazers got Delano Banton from the Celtics.
Yeah, that team needs to suffer.
The Mavs got Daniel Gafford from Washington. Rashawn Holmes goes to DC. Robin Lopez goes to Sacramento. So
Because he got waived.
Mm-hmm. The Toronto Raptors got Kelly Olynyk from the Jazz, old Heat friend there. Otto Porter Jr. Goes to Utah. The Danuel House Jr. goes to Philadelphia. The Pacers got Corey Joseph from the Warriors for draft picks. Pistons, it doesn't matter what the Pistons do.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a blow up for them.
Yeah. Monte Morris goes to Minnesota.
Which I do like. I think Monte is
Detroit.
a very underrated player.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, Minnesota might as well go for it because they never are in this position.
At all.
Yeah. So try and see what you can do, right?
Same thing with the OKC logic.
Yeah. Yeah. They just took a long time for Minnesota to get there. The Celtics got Xavier Tillman from Memphis on the 7th. And then, yeah, that was basically everything else is from, back February 1st, Steven Adams to Houston and stuff like that. But we already talked about Rozier. So
yeah, and Rozier, he avoided injury, thankfully. And like I said, we were we in the market for another point guard? Yeah. Or are we just going to have to deal with the fact that we're going to have very small forwards handling that ball? Yep. And you know what? With any other coach, I think I would be in concerns and be in, have my my stomach in a twist. But with Spo, you guys just understand. He that from Jurassic Park, life finds a way. Spo finds a way.
Yeah. I guess R.I.P. Because I'm going on Twitter right now. R.I.P. to William Bill Post. He was the inventor of the Pop-Tart. He has died at the age of 96. So really? That's who statues should be made of. So there you go.
I have a variety pack of Pop-Tarts right now at home.
Yeah, pour one
Cherry
out.
Strawberry and
pour one out. Pour out some Pop-Tarts for the man.
Crunch one out.
Yeah. Sheesh, man.
Okay, side question, because it's a sports show, but I'm going to have fun with this. I saw that, their labels say you can toast it, you can eat neutral, put it in the microwave, and then you could freeze it. I have never frozen a Pop-Tart before.
Pop-Tart?
Yeah, you can.
Is that like an instruction on the box?
Yeah.
Frozen Pop-Tarts. I got to look this up now. 1 second.
I know, and I'm like, I don't want to do that
on the big screen on the show. 1 second.
Yeah, like I don't want to do that, but I'm not against the concept of it.
I just feel like
my teeth, man.
I feel like there's going to be some condensation on that, and it'll just kind of get some water.
But you are talking about a jam base, so what if it just mixes well? And how frozen? How frozen? That's what I want to know.
Maybe. I'm that's nothing Review Bra would do, but.
But what if it's like certain flavors are better? I'm not saying.
Do you want to go in on the hot honey pizza thing this weekend? I feel like we could do that and have that review for next week.
Maybe I have to see what the local Pizza Hut is, but let's see.
Yeah. I feel like I would. All right, this is how I would do that. With that, I would eat it straight out of the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually what I would do sometimes like my stuff for Papa John's, because once again, local Miami pizza is shit. 11.
Yep. You can't even call it a curse word if you're speaking the gospel, baby.
I'll stick it in my air fryer and try and season it up with some chili flakes and a bunch of other stuff. So I might do that as well. Anyways, frozen Pop-Tart. I just want to see this real
So
quick.
I have
before we
the
head over to
instructions
Cage.
from Pop-Tart's website
Frozen
because they give you
Pop-Tarts.
microwave, toaster, and neutral. But they say for freezer, put
Yeah,
pouch in
there's
freezer.
literally a Reddit thread that says people freeze their Pop-Tarts. And
Yeah,
why you should
they say,
freeze your Pop-Tarts from lifehacker.com.
but hear me out because the cage is gonna be short because this is more important to me. I'm not saying that a strawberry or a cherry or a blueberry frozen Pop Tart appeals to me. What if it gives new life to the chocolate flavored ones?
Let me see.
Cookies and cream, the chocolate flavors, all that stuff. What if brown sugar cinnamon just tastes so much better?
Like, tart grow refreshingly cooler as you move towards the center. The cold even tame the cloying sweetness a tad. What is this? Oh, okay.
I'm on Pop Tart's website. I didn't know they had a frosted Boston cream donut Pop Tart. Imagine that in the freezer. That would taste delicious.
I honestly, I might give that a shot too. Just buy a box
I'm
and
going to
stick it
put
in there.
one. Yeah, I'm going to put one in the fridge.
hours.
My problem is I have the fruity flavors, but when I'm out of them, I'm also going to try the s'mores Pop Tarts in fridge or in the freezer.
Yeah.
I'm guys. We're gonna get weird.
Yeah.
It's so
Goofs
weird.
2.0 is getting really weird. All right, so let's head on over to the cage. We're at 153. Let's do it.
All right, welcome everybody. Your weekly Truplex, the Cage with Charles. Remember, wrestling is not fake. It's a scripted fight. It's a song and dance. It's men and women being the holy hell out of each other. Chasing championships, establishing legacies, trying to vie for my attention, my money to go to the live events, also their merchandise, and just giving me a scale time. Because as we always say, there is no more Vince McMahon, so go fuck yourself. 11. There's kind of stuff to talk about, but there's kind of not because it's like next week is going to be the bigger edition for WWE. You have Elimination Chamber, which is next week in Australia at Perth at 5 a.m. Your boy is not going to be watching that early in the morning. I like wrestling, but I don't even finish all the Saudi Arabia pay-per-views. So there you go. And then AEW is building towards Revolution, which is in March. And so it's going to be kind of like a shorter cage to a degree. Did I talk about Scott D'Amore getting fired from TNA last week? I don't remember.
You mentioned just stuff about TNA and just like the switch of the name back to away from
so
Impact.
I'm gonna start with that. So Scott D'Amore has basically been running through TNA for the last several years. They are owned by Anthem. Their shows are broadcast on Access. They have the TNA Impact Zone, I believe, where you get their app. But he's done a good job of making it credible and bringing it back to be a good alternative third option. Ring of Honor is not a third option for me because it's just AEW with whatever Tony Khan wants to put in there, which is kind of disappointing. And I like New Japan, but if you don't know New Japan, then it's Japan fan or Japanese fans who are big on it.
I'm on Scott D'Amore's Twitter page.
Yeah, so I like him, follow him. So he got the new title redesigns. He got TNA back in name instead of being Impact. He loaned Jordan Grace to go wrestle the Royal Rumble. He loaned Mickie James when she was Knockouts champion at the Royal Rumble several years ago. So Scott's contract got terminated. And Anthem was saying that it was a mutual decision. And it turns out it wasn't. So all of the locker room is like, no, that's wrong. He wouldn't do that. And I don't trust the dirt sheets too much. X/Twitter is not a healthy place to get reputable sources. What is reputable about it is that it was not a voluntary termination. They let him go without controversy, very similar to Rossi Asagwa getting got gone over at Stardom, which is the all-female Joshi wrestling company. But it's kind of disappointing because I had started actually kind of watching TNA again past Twitter. They're usually on Access on Thursdays. So if I come home, my brain's fried and there's no Thursday night wrestling, Thursday night football. And so if I just want to eat something real quickly for like 35 minutes before I just kind of change my style to it, I'll go watch it. Like I was watching Josh Alexander. There's a lot of good talent to Josh Alexander and Moose. I can't speak highly enough about Jordan Grace in there. You got Grizzled Young Veterans who used to be a WWE product, but now they're over there. there's just a lot of good stuff. But they terminated him, and it kind of seems very,
I have a
icky.
question because I've
Yeah.
heard of TNA. You know, I've heard of the name, right? So it's,
Hmm.
I mean, it's a pretty. Even when it was Impact, you always just think of it as TNA, right? Because I think that's
Correct.
it,
I
it
did.
just rolls off the tongue a lot better. It's
It's a
easier to
little
stick in your
nonstop action,
mind,
baby.
right? Every other, the other wrestling promos are basically just acronyms, right? AEW, WWE, right? So it's just easier for people to remember. But I've never really associate. I mean, they probably had a couple video games back in like the N64 days, right?
No, they came after the
Oh,
dissolution
sorry.
of. No, you're not. It's on. They came
Yeah,
after the
okay. I
dissolution
made a
of
mistake in
WCW. A
there.
lot of WCW cast-offs came from there. Sting was
Okay.
in there. Ric Flair went there, but for different reasons because he was broke. But
Mm.
Sting was there. He was actually main front. The Hardys went there at some point, but also had some new
Just
blood Samoa Joes from there. HSS. But they had a game in the 360 era.
so my question is like, how is it viewed in like the pantheon of these wrestling promos? You know what I mean? Like third,
Oh, the
second,
Scott Steiner
fourth.
33% meme that I always send you guys.
Mm. Okay.
The whole thing. He
Yeah.
was in there. Oh, I'm thinking promo as a cut. You mean promotion?
Yes, yes. As a yeah, sorry, as a promotion, as a company, I would say.
Oh,
Like you have WWE at the top, right? You know, AEW, yeah, New Japan. Like
well,
where is it in the pantheon of this?
they're not insolvent, right? That's how I'm gonna. And they had a lot of change over. Dixie Carter came in, they bought it, they brought in Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, almost ruined the damn thing. I don't know if you ever seen this movie, but I don't get to say this often on broadcast. Also, it's like baby's kids. They don't die, they multiply. That's how it is for Impact. It's a good launch pad, like careers. Austin Creed, known as Xavier Woods, was Consequence Creed. He's part of the New Day. They get guys like that really started there that led to it. So I think it's a good starting point and launching point for people who are going to go to other waters. And then it is, and I have actually a sport affiliation that it would make sense for. It's also a place where people get fired from WWE or get their contract not renewed from AEW, goes to and pops over there. This is how I would call them. They are and I think Andrew would love me for it. They're a Power Five football factory. I do consider them as the Bamas and the Michigans and the Ohio States in their affiliation because there's guys who are good for that 1 or 2 years in college that can shine out and they might be known for that establishment. You're always going to remember certain guys. And then they might go on to have better professional careers in the NFL, if that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Because not everybody's going to watch college football, right?
Mm.
Because some of us got our degrees in community college, or we didn't even attend your school, or we hate the fact that they're just making money off of this instead of paying the suit, all that fun stuff. But we might like professional football, and there's some people who like college football and they like professional football, and some of them can track guys that were playing at Bama that now are playing on their favorite team. Oh, I'm a Derrick Henry fan in Bama, and I was a Derrick Henry fan in the NFL for the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully back we won't be. That's like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, baby. You were an Impact. I knew about you. I watched a few things. I didn't go to Bama, but when you got to the program that I actually watch, or when you got to the team I support, or if I picked you on my fantasy football team, boy, howdy was I invested in. So that's how I equate with them. So they're not insolvent. They're survivable. They've had some controversies. They made bad moves. They made good moves. They made a lot of new stars, and this really felt like their their 3.0 or their 4.0, as we call it, like the AOL style. But that's how I view them myself personally.
Okay. All right then. All right. Well, continue on.
So Scott Demore's gone, and not
Mm.
everybody's happy about it. So we're just going to see where it takes it. So there's that portion. I liked him. I would really think Tony Khan should um, sign him to run Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor does not have it's under Tony Khan does not have an equal flavor, especially with the melding of AEW talent or outside talent. They're not Ring of Honor talent, and I don't know if Tony Khan can get past his own creative tendencies, but I think it will be good for business because my belief, my theory is the reason why Ring of Honor has not is not so separated is because Tony's trying to do his best to get that to be put on TV with a broadcast right. But he's owned it for a while now, and you haven't been able to market it either to WB Discovery, to be on TNT, TBS, or anything else on the affiliate. True TV, even, right? Isn't that the same affiliation of TNT and TBS? And they broadcast the goddamn college March Madness for college basketball. And what you have is basically a paywall of Honor Club. So maybe DM Moore can put a little spring there. I don't know what happens to Impact, really, because it's like you have a ready to start. It's like someone just gets retained and then all of a sudden they just leave and there's their vision. But how does somebody implement that person's vision when someone who's not being promoted within, it's just brought from the outside? You're going to have a kind of a philosophical break, I think. So let's see what happens. And Anthem just needs to spend money and do all this stuff. I don't know what the creative differences were. Plus, it doesn't even matter. Wrestling, I don't think you ever stay at one place forever unless your name is Vince McMahon, and he ain't ever there anymore, right? Oh, happy day. So there's that. WWE Elimination Chamber is happening in Australia per February 24th. We're going to go in detail on that match. The match card, we'll go with full breakdown and everything. I want to talk about it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I've obviously sent you guys clips about the press conference for WrestleMania 40 over in Pennsylvania or Philly, and Roman choosing The Rock, and Cody Rhodes calling a shot saying this is bullshit, a 12, and saying that he's going to choose Roman and everything like that. And Seth Rollins is like, I'm your dog, I'm your boy. I am super invested in WrestleMania now, which is so weird because I am not invested in Elimination Chamber at all. Partially because there'll be some WrestleMania storylines that bear fruit to this, but the bill could be handled better. But even though, my feelings about Cody, I like you. I don't like your booking. I like this booking now because The Rock's coming in. They have him going full heel. He's playing the board director mindset. Rock probably gave him some bad counsel. That's why he has stepped up. He said, maybe it's not as important for me to chase Roman, let The Rock do his thing. Maybe I'll go for the World Heavyweight Championship versus Seth, blah, blah, blah. And then Roman being like, all right, we can have the biggest Samoan WrestleMania in all history. Cody's whole gimmick is wrestling has more than one royal family. It's literally the beginning lyrics of Kingdom that comes in. Well, not the lyrics, but Cody's intro. And the Rhodes family, which, we've talked about Dustin, a.k.a. Goldust, Cody. You have a lot that kind of builds with it. And now I kind of like it a lot because Cody's booking has been very piss poor, in my opinion. He tore his pec after Seth. We don't know what was in the plans afterwards. Won the Royal Rumble, lost to Roman at Mania. Then it kind of just went into a weird feud with Brock that I think Cody looked better for it. And then he feuded a little bit with Judgment Day, but nobody really. And then it became like Survivor Series, War Games, Judgment Day. And I was like, I don't want it. And then he won the Rumble, to which I was at. I'm like, fine, I guess. Finish the damn story because, it's like the payoff and all that stuff. And then you brought in the Rock stuff. And I'm like, as I was telling everybody, I don't want Rock versus Roman. I think without a title it would be interesting to me, but I don't want it for the belt. And then, are they really going to do it? And then Hunter has pulled such a good creative move because I actually thought it was going to happen where Rock was going to at least get a triple threat match versus Cody, which is still a possibility. You never know. But I thought they were going to lean very hard into Rock Roman. I'm like, okay, fine. And them son of bitches got me 12. And that's what you kind of want because wrestling is supposed to be predictable. But when you really make me like, what are you doing? Because now I'm gearing toward wanting something to happen. And you're going to take that away from me. And I'm so close to being aggravated as a human being that you swerve me in a good way. So now I'm invested in WrestleMania. There's other stuff they'll build into Mania, and we are 2.5 months or 53 days away from it. So we're not going for it. I'm not going to have to go to a gala this time like I did last year because I appreciate my job. And I want them to understand how much I appreciate it by missing night one and avoiding all spoilers, for that main event of Mayo versus Sammy versus the Usos. This is my favorite time of the year, though, because I'm going to watch select. The cage is going to be different a little bit, guys, because we're building the pay-per-views, but I'll just tell you now. I'm going to revisit past Mania matches and put the recommendations out there. I'm going to select wrestlers. I'll say right now it's going to be Kurt Angle to watch some Kurt Angle matches that happened in Mania. Maybe some Sean's. Sean Taker is one of my two favorite matches in there, 1 and 2. And then some weird other stuff as well. And we'll build into it because I'm going to speak on it because since WrestleMania is such a long gap away, I'm gonna shift this game a little bit. It's my segment. I can do what I want, but it's good. We'll talk more about WWE. Let's head on AEW because I owe him that. Revolution's building up. There's two things I want to speak about AEW because it's about one of them, just the enjoyment of it. As people call it as an alternative, I don't view it as an alternative because when you think about an alternative, it's about being like, oh well, when I don't have the availability to do this, or if I don't have the money to do this, or I don't have the patience to do this, let me go to the next best thing. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, or you're at a restaurant. It's like, yeah, I'd like a Coke. No, we only do Pepsi here. Fine.
yeah. I view it as right hand, left hand, and I have a task, and my task is to enjoy viewership of wrestling in whatever capacity. Some like I can't hold a bat with one arm and swing at it, right? I gotta do it with two hands. Gotta do it with two hands, basically, to get the job done, which is just me enjoying wrestling and a viewership, and that's through all styles and shapes. I think that's the best analogy of how I can tell you about saying, hey, I like all wrestling because I think it functions as me trying to do a task that's manual labor with my hands, right? Um, and I view AEW more as the left hand, right hand. They've gotten me to buy pay per views. I watch the Dynamites because it does give me some kind of enjoyment. So, because the thing is a long stall to Revolution, I'm just going to give you like the things I've been enjoying lately with it. Yes, Kazuko Okada is coming to AEW, and then Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, is coming to AEW. We'll talk about that when Revolution happens. Same thing with Will Ospreay. I don't want to waste my breath on it when you can just read on Twitter. First part, we had a double turn. I mentioned it was a swerve, right? Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page last week on Dynamite had a match for number one contendership to go against Samoa Joe, who we love. Another Samoan named Joe that's fantastic. Like, not even fantastic, top tier, just like S level. And whoever won that goes and challenges him. AEW, can you stop putting the matches I want to see at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday? I'm at the gym, man. Like, I came in like the final 10 minutes, thank God. But you've done this before. You did this to me with Brian and Hangman, 1 and 2, if I believe. Tony Khan, you're a bastard for that, 13. And I know what you're saying. Charles, my show is more important than your gym time. I'm 34, and it's all going to go downhill if I don't keep it up, baby. We got to get hot Goof summers around the corner again. We're only like 4 months away, truthfully. We got to get this going, baby. But the match ends because of time limit draw, which I predicted. I said, okay, they'll do a time limit draw because I was telling Tony, I'm like, all right, man, we'll get to a triple threat. That's what we want to go from there. It gets to a time limit draw. Swerve at the heel says, nah. This isn't how it's going to end. I deserve my shot against Joe. Hangman, give me another 5 minutes. And Hangman has been the babyface for such a long time. He has a cool new stash. He looks like Magnum TA. Literally looks like Magnum TA these days. Not Magnum PI, Magnum TA. You guys should go research him from the NWA days. Fantastic. And then Hangman looks at him because these two are in a blood feud. It was the greatest match of 2023 across all promotions for me from last year. The man drank the man's blood and spat it out. I was like, oh my God. But Hangman looks at him and says, nah, you couldn't beat me. You're not going to get your AEW championship match. No way. And he leaves the ring. So the good guy says, nah, I can give it to you. He has a heelish tendency where the other guy is begging for the opportunity and fairness. And you're thinking, it's what you call a double turn. Double turn is like when one guy is a bad guy becoming a good guy, and a good guy becomes a bad guy on the same segment. And you're wondering to yourself, oh, okay, is that how it's going to end? And then, of course, Tony Khan says, no, you'll both be number one contenders. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. But I think it's an interesting turn. I believe the crowd is behind on Swerve Strickland. And with Hangman, I want to see what a heel Hangman absent of the Bullet Club can do, because everybody in the Bullet Club has become a heel, and I shouldn't call it Bullet Club anymore. It's the Elite. Sorry, nerds and IWC, I apologize. But AEW-wise, the Elite, who are part of Bullet Club at some point in juncture, have had heel turns that came into it. Kenny Omega did. The Young Bucks are heels again. More on that in a second. I want to see where Hangman goes. So that's one. Then comes number two. Sting wrestled last week with Darby Allin in a championship tag team match against Big Bill Ricky Starks. You damn sure I watched it. I've been following Sting since 1997 when he was in WCW. The first WCW pay-per-view I recall paying for, begging mom and dad to pay for, was Starrcade 97, where unfortunately, there's a whole botching of everything, but that's where technically he beat Hogan and ended the NWO situation. That was a lie. He has gone through, won many championships throughout his career, including many heavyweight championships from WCW, TNA, Impact, part of Main Event Mafia, which you guys should watch if you want some goofy stuff. In Impact, he was also Joker. Joker Sting, which you either loved or you hated it. He went to WWF or WWE, challenged for the World Championship against Seth. WWE Championship against Seth, got like hurt obviously and retired, and they came to AEW, and he was never thrusted into a title match. The guy's like 63, man. But him and Darby have been a faction or a team together since they all got in. There was no betrayals. It makes sense with the ranking systems that they've been undefeated as a team and they've never lost as a team, that they would get title shots. And then they won. And man, Sting beat Ricky Stark. He covered him, hit him with a Scorpion Death Drop, made it look like that Ricky had him with a spear, and then Sting got it, and then Sting's boys were there. And it was a nice, wholesome moment. Sting totally got that championship, all happy. 7-year-old me was like, damn right, still doing it. And look, I like Sting's matches because he's not asked to do like singles matches. He's doing multi-man matches, and he's just there for the pop, the hype, and the little splash that he always does, whether it be a single splash or off the top balcony splash. You couldn't get me doing that at 34, man. Respect to you. And of course, the Young Bucks, who are heels now. Young Bucks were part of a lot of controversies of Brawl Out and all this other stuff, have now changed their gimmick a little bit where they don't seem like, entitled rock stars because of the EVP, so executive vice presidents. They now are wearing suits, and they go by their God-given names of Nicholas Jackson and Matthew Jackson. That's how they go by, except Nick and Matt. And then, of course, the Young Bucks, they should change their name from the Young Bucks, if you want my opinion, to call themselves the Jacksons. Wrestling could be fun like that, but what can I say? And they gave Sting and Darby a beatdown that would make Joe Jackson envious, since we're running with that gig. And it's going to build the feud of – everybody knows what Joe did. Everybody is going to build the feud towards Revolution, which is also Sting's retirement match. So it makes you think, are the Young Bucks going to win? 99% chance, sure they are. Or if they have Sting win his retainment match with Darby for the retirement match, retain the titles, and then retire it and vacate it, and then Darby either has to select somebody, think of Fabulous Freebird rules, or Darby vacates and says, now that my tag team partner's gone, I'm going to go create my own singles career. It is kind of compelling stuff, but it was wrestling done right, man. Wrestling done right. So whereas my right hand is dealing with my love of the Cody, Roman, Rock nostalgia, being a heel, and Seth Rollins in there because he will be their Shield. I don't know if you watched that last night, but I popped a little bit for it. I'm not gonna lie, I popped a lot because Roman and Seth have a whole history. I might have to sit down and do the whole story on that. I don't want to do a whole story, but someone has to finish the story, I guess. Ha ha ha. But the left hand's enjoyed the nostalgia of the WCW days following Sting, because there's not a lot of my WCW guys left, man. I'm not counting Hogan, I'm not counting Flair. Because they are formally retired, even though Rick wrestled like a year and a half ago in his 70s. I think Sting is the last of my go-tos from the WCW era, right? As I'm thinking about it, yeah. Rey Mysterio is still going, but Rey was also in WWE for such a long time that I think you can claim him as well, because there was Rey in WCW for the Cruiserweight title, and then he actually won the Cruiserweight tag titles with Billy Kidman. That was fun times. But he also got like all these main titles in WWE. So I think after Sting's out, then the last remnants of my childhood before I hit double digits when it came to wrestling is Rey Mysterio. And if I'm wrong, I will find it, trust me. But we've been on that nostalgia kick. But I think since going to the Royal Rumble to now, man, what has it been about? The balance of 7-year-old Charles meeting 34-year-old Charles in line and being balanced and one with ourselves, and take a deep breath, because that's all I'm going to give you for the cage this week.
Okay. All right, well, I think that's it for us. I've got nothing more, Charles, so bye-bye.
Take care.
that's a shine. Stars don't twinkle, that's a shine. Stars don't twinkle, that's a shine.